below, they were willing to move on from. They were more than happy to do all this because they felt like they needed somebody who was going to be better and be able to work with the head coach and do it in a really efficient way like Purdy does.
I'd still love to know what happened with that draft where they traded all the way up and the rumor was they went up to get Jones and then changed their mind to Lance. One day that's going to be a great 30 for 30 short.
You know what? Maybe they figured out that Mac Jones was a little bit immature and was not ready for the big stage in that spot.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
And we're Anajar and Levine. Experience the Anajar and Levine difference by calling us with any of your legal needs. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Valor Bare-Knuckle is back in Jacksonville. The legend Ken Shamrock playing host, and the card is highlighted with a heavyweight bout. Valor Bare-Knuckle highlights combat sports in its truest form. It's one night, October 27th, and it's at UNF Arena, an intimate setting surrounding the electrifying bout circle. October 27th at UNF Arena. For ticket information, go to valorbk.com. Don't miss it. Raw, electric, exhilarating. Valor Bare-Knuckle 2 in Jacksonville, October 27th, valorbk.com.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS's PRP, platelet-rich plasma. PRP uses your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. That's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out. Plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season.
You can make a difference in the lives of people living with lung cancer by coming out on October 14th to the Lung Force Run Walk Jacksonville. Join the American Lung Association and hundreds of neighbors to raise awareness about lung cancer, honor the memory of those we've lost, and lift up those who need our support. Find out more information about the event and register yourself or your team today at lungforce.org/Jacksonville. That's lungforce.org/Jacksonville.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
What's up? It's Casey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, wherever you get your podcast.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Michael Rothstein's reporting the Falcons acquired receiver Van Jefferson from the Rams. Jefferson struggled to find a substantial role with LA this season, in part because of the emergence of rookie star Puka Nacua. Vikings superstar receiver Justin Jefferson will land on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. He'll miss at least 4 games. Sensational Dolphins rookie running back Devon Achane likely out multiple weeks with a knee injury. NHL opening night tripleheader on ESPN includes top overall pick in the draft, Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks visiting Sidney Crosby and the Penguins at 8 Eastern. Bedard will be amazing, believes ESPN NHL analyst PK Subban.
This guy has been nothing short but unbelievable in junior. His junior numbers are outstanding, but what he's done in training camp in the preseason, making defenders miss like he does here, his ability, his balance, his skill level, and his ability to score big goals in big moments. But this guy's got a pro-level shot. I think he's going to have a real opportunity to have an impact early.
Caesar Sportsbook is listing the Hurricanes as the favorites to win the Stanley Cup this season at 15-2 odds.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
What's happening on a Tuesday? Everybody well rested from the London experience now. Hopefully the Jaguars are. They got a big game coming up on Tuesday, on Sunday. Today's Tuesday. Guys, I was listening to Aaron Rodgers talk about Gardener Minshew. He's a fan of Minshew. Rodgers is fantastic on McAfee. I don't know if you saw the tweet that I had, but I was listening to it and watching it. I don't catch it all the time. But what a time to get him. I mean, Devontae Adams last night, Green Bay last night, Jordan Love. He's really got some good stuff on that until he gets into probably whatever else he wants to get into. So that was kind of an interesting experience, whether you like him or not. But he is a fan of Gardener Minshew, and Minshew comes to Jacksonville to try to beat the old team. A little chip on the shoulder. You got all that going for Gardener. Gardener's got a lot of chips on the shoulder throughout his career as a player that's been overlooked countless times. He's bounced around in college, in the NFL, and he will come in here motivated. That is for sure. How much will they use Jonathan Taylor? How much will Gus Bradley's defense get after the Jags like they did with the front in the season opener? Remember that Colts defense did a pretty good job against the Jaguars offensive line. It seems like most every defensive fronts have done a good job against the Jaguars offensive line. And as you keep going down the list, the Jaguars actually play pretty formidable fronts most every week. I mean, they really do. Maybe everybody's got a formidable front except for what most people think in Jacksonville. The Jaguars don't have one.
I kind of feel like that's what Press Taylor said when they were asking him early on about Anton Harrison is like, look, kid's going to have to learn on the job. Almost every team has someone dangerous up front.
Yeah, and listen, I think the Jags do have somebody dangerous up front. He's called Josh Allen. I think most teams prepare for that. I think Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills quarterback, said that this week going into it. Are they still getting enough from guys like Foley Fatukasi and even Roy Robertson Harris right now? How much could Devon Hamilton play a role? Here's the deal. When you say probably not because you're not seeing him in the backfield, they're doing an excellent job against the run. And when you're doing an excellent job against the run, well, you're setting up third and long situations, which allows your team to benefit and do pretty well. Third and long in the NFL is just a very hard down. And the secondary is playing excellent. The Jags are tackling in space excellent. And right now, whether you think the Jags pass rush is bad or not, or as bad as everybody thought it was going to be or not, it's part of a defense that's playing pretty good football. So, I mean, are they playing good football despite having not a great pass rush? Or are they doing enough up front to complement what they're doing in the back end?
I think it's the other. I think the coverage has been so good that the rush can at least get at the quarterback, if not all the way home, and create the sack.
Kasey, has the rush been as bad as you thought it would be going in? Because I think you were one in favor of adding more to the pass rush.
I believe the word you're looking for, Brent, is naysayer, Kasey. You're a naysayer.
Yeah, outside of Josh Allen, they're nothing special. They got a top guy, and they got some guys that are getting paid.
It's not worth nothing to you to stop the run? I know he's talking about pass rush. I'm just
No, I think they stopped. I think that's a whole different thing. I think they stopped the run well, and they're good at it. But if you're talking strictly about the pass rush, they don't have dudes. They've got football players.
Yeah, I guess I don't think you're wrong. I mean, Josh Allen right now is the dude, and nobody else is like tracking toward a Pro Bowl. I mean, one thing we say about this defense is Foye Oluokun on that level is very good. He's a Pro Bowl caliber player. I think Cisco and Tyson Campbell, Pro Bowl caliber players. Rashawn Jenkins was last year. So they've got players on all three levels. But I don't think you would right now say anybody outside of Josh Allen is playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level through 5 weeks up front. But that doesn't mean they're not doing their job up front
and
either,
doing it well.
Right? And so it's not really an overall thing of, hey, do they have the guys? It's like, are they doing better than you thought they would do up front? Or are they doing worse than you thought they would do up front at this point? The pressures are, I mean, you read me the stats, right? The pressures are there. Yeah. The holding calls are there. The stuffing the run is there. Josh Allen is doing well. Like, his numbers are really good. Trayvon's are not Hutchinson, so they're not good enough.
But, Brent, I would say, to your point that they're doing their job, like we heard multiple times in the preseason and training camp that Roy Robertson Harris was unblockable.
Yeah.
His stats say he is very blockable.
He's also missing a couple of help on either side of him.
Outside of Josh Allen, they have 3 sacks. Like, they're not performing good enough for what you're paying Roy Robertson Harris. In the pass rush, they're not.
But would Roy Robertson Harris look a little bit different with Smoot out there and Hamilton at the top of his game?
That shouldn't matter, though. That shouldn't matter. Like, again, this is the topic. This is what I'm asking. It's like, you can't be getting. I will tell you this: you can't play good defense just because your secondary is playing well. All right, you have to play good defense with other parts. Like, every coach in America will say it's rush and cover, right? It works together, all this stuff. Well, the Jaguars are not giving up a bunch of stuff. I mean, almost every defensive metric shows they're playing pretty good football, with the exception of the Houston game. Everyone they've played other than Houston has scored like below their season average, or like the first or second worst output that they've put up through 5 weeks. You can't do that without impacting anything up front. And I don't know if it's good enough. I'm just saying, I would agree with Kasey. Like, I don't think Roy Robertson Harris has shown as much as I thought he would. Fadakasi showed up, I think it was in the Atlanta game a couple of times. That was probably his best performance from an eye test. I don't know what the numbers say, but the eye test. They are without Devon Hamilton. They are without Smoot. They are going to get those guys back. I still don't think they're going to come in here and make this huge difference. They're coming off pretty significant injuries, and we don't even know if Hamilton's coming back at this point. So I can't say they're bad, because they're part of a pretty good defense right now, but I still think there's room to get better and impact the football game more up front.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And Case, to your point, if you're going to reference how everyone was saying, hey, hold off, chill, calm down, wait a little bit in the preseason, then you got to have the full complement of guys out there. That's the point I'm making, Brent. Not that Roy Robertson Harris should be better or shouldn't be better because he doesn't have the normal guys around him. I'm saying if you're looking at preseason going, well, they didn't do anything to this pass rush. They did not help it get better with an addition of people, player resources. Then you go, well, they don't have the full complement out there yet, and they're not healthy.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, again,
that being said, it's not enough.
Here's the deal.
It's not enough.
Here's the deal. I really don't expect DeJuan Smoot and Devon Hamilton to do much when they come back.
No impact, you think? How many weeks for the whole season?
I'm not going to rely on it. Like, if I'm in their front office and I'm in these meetings, I'm not relying on it.
Because you sounded like you were before the season started.
I was. Well, Devon Hamilton was healthy, didn't have a back injury. I mean, he was playing lights out, and they had just signed him to a deal. He had a good year last year, so there was a lot more to see last year with Devon Hamilton. He was their most consistent guy up front, quite frankly, last season. So, but now we don't even know what the hell's really wrong with him.
Or right? What he's going to be when he gets back.
And now he hasn't played for quite some time. Doesn't look like he's tracking for, like, this week. He's probably an after-the-bye kind of situation.
If we're
so
lucky.
What can you expect from him? And again, I'm just not – the Smoot stuff is fine. He's had a hell of a career. I love him. I think a lot of the fans do. I think they appreciate what he's given. He's been very consistent. But if you're sitting here and hanging your hat on DeJuan Smoot coming in and now having 4 sacks or really having some hurries and pressures, once in a while maybe, but I don't know if that consistency is going to show. I mean, we've had the JOI docs on before this. That thing's tough, man. When you come back, you've got the strength issues coming back from the Achilles. It's not just jump right in and play from their kind of positions that they're coming from. Maybe Aaron Rodgers will be different because he doesn't have to really use as much strength to actually play the quarterback position. But these guys, it's all about leverage and strength and everything else. There's a concern for me that the fan base or even the front office here in Jacksonville is saying, don't worry, we got Smoot coming back. I wouldn't do that. And so the other part of it is, do they make a move? Do they finally use in the back of the pocket what I've been suggesting they might be doing for a long, long time by not making any moves and picking people up in free agency? Is this the move that they're going to make? They say, hey, we're going to see how it goes. Let's see if Chason gets any better. Let's see where Trayvon is. Let's see where Josh is. And if it's not where we think it needs to be, here's the chess piece. We're going to go make a trade for Danielle Hunter or somebody else. And should they do that?
I got a secondary question for you, which is along the same lines. Like, name another spot on the team you'd be willing to ship significant capital, whether it be money or draft picks, to add to it. Because I can't think of one. It's not the running backs. Even the offensive line, as up and down as it's played throughout the season, you've got depth there. It may not be starter-type depth that you want, but if you got 3 or 4 injuries and you're still putting guys out there who have started for you in the past, you've got depth on the offensive line. They desperately need help on that push.
Yeah, I think the problem with the offensive line from my standpoint is nobody's given good offensive linemen up. Because nobody has.
You have a few rolling out there. Maybe not like guys in their prime. A guy like Dalton Risner's out there. He's been good in the past. A guy like Lael Collins has been cleared. He looks good. And those guys are hot commodities right now. Teams will pick those guys up. I think there are moves to be made for the offensive line. I just don't think it's a priority for this team because they're winning with what they've got, and they need the help on that defensive push.
Here's what I would say on the offensive line. I think they're better off hoping that it all comes together better and it incrementally gets better.
It's the Zach Wilson philosophy.
Well, no, it's a little less than Zach Wilson. You have proven guys on that offensive line. You have players that have played well in the National Football League. Cam Robinson has played better than he played the other day.
Okay.
Tyler Shatley has played for a long time. Fortner played well for parts of last year and for whatever reason not playing as well. Sheriff has been all-pro and Pro Bowl and et cetera.
Sure.
And then you invested in the right tackle, Anton Harrison. So I'm okay with status quo in the offensive line because, again, I don't think you're finding upgrades in trade scenarios. I do think there are names out there in the pass rush that are upgradable for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm going to put it in this context. All right, you got to beat everybody in the AFC South. You're better than everybody in the AFC South, as you are right now, I think. Now, it's a lot tighter than we thought it might be, and that shouldn't come as any surprise because anybody who thought this was like, the ACC when Clemson dominated it, you're out of your mind. It's the NFL. But I know we think that way.
I feel like a lot of people felt that way.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we do.
Casey's calling himself
That's what we do.
Now.
Everybody's like clean sweep, blowouts every week against the – it's not the way the NFL works. But the bottom line is they still are the best team in the AFC South, and they should still be able to win the division. But that's not what this year is about. This year's not about just winning the division and going to the playoffs. This year's about beating Buffalo in the postseason, being good enough to get to Patrick Mahomes in January, get to Joe Burrow in January. When you get a team that comes in here after the bye like San Francisco, and that's the elite in the NFL, and that's where you need to get, you probably do have to make a move. You can't just sit here and say this team is elite up front. They're not. And we're seeing a lot of other teams that are pretty darn close to elite or pretty dynamic up front.
Yeah.
The Jags, I can defend the Jags in a lot of ways. I can be okay with what Trayvon's doing more than other people are. I think they do have some good players on the interior. Hopefully Smoot and Hamilton help. But what I can't sit here and say is they are as dynamic up front as some of the teams we're watching each and every week in the NFL, from Max Crosby wrecking games like last night to Hutchinson the way he has performed to Bosa to you name it, right? I mean, it seems like everybody's got somebody. Josh Allen is as close to what that is, and he can play at that level at times. I still think Josh's one issue for me is being consistent at that level, like week in, week out. But some of that has to do with There's no threat maybe on the other side that people are as concerned about at this stage or even in the middle. Roy Robertson-Harris, good player. Foley Fatukasi, good player. It's not like you're putting Aaron Donald in there instead, right? So do the Jags have the ability to upgrade that position? The answer is absolutely yes. Do you feel like you are going to try to win a Super Bowl this year? Well, if you are, go make a bold move. They're going to probably have to make a move to fortify that front even more. I think they're cool at linebacker. They're going to have to get away with Muma and Lloyd and the young guys maybe making a mistake here or there. I think they're good at the secondary. I really do. I think that secondary is pretty dynamic. And are they perfect? No, but they're good.
So
I think up front they need to get even better than they are.
Who are you replacing with the addition?
It doesn't matter who you replace. You've got to be able to roll guys in there, right? Buffalo does that very well last week. They roll people in, and I think
the Jets do it all game too.
A lot of people do. Now, most people do. It seems like more people do it in like the 4-3 scheme. But the bottom line is you want multiple guys so you stay fresh along that front with the big fellas, and Smoot will help that, right? Devon Hamilton, if he comes back, will help that. They have good enough players that will help that. I just feel like they need one more stud to go along with Josh Allen. I don't know through 5 weeks and even through most of last year who's a stud. I think Josh Allen is close to that, if not already there. I'm a little biased because I'm a big fan of him. But I do think if they have an opportunity to go get another stud this year, like they did in 2017 with getting Marcel Darius and adding to – and by the way, that year they already had studs. They had Calais. Jan was playing like a stud, and then they added Marcel Darius to that fold. I think the Jags really could use that if they think they want to go to the promised land that places like the Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers sit in. They're at a different level.
Are you looking at edge or interior if you're Trent Baalke?
Both.
Or are you just looking at anyone who gets at the quarterback?
Both.
Like, is Khalil Mack on the table for you?
Both.
Well, I don't think Khalil Mack's going to move off the Chargers.
I got the answer, boys. It's fine. You call Carolina, they suck. I don't know if you guys heard. Brian Burns and Derek Brown. Boom. Both.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting both. We gotta
or
be
either.
realistic.
How about either?
This isn't
I would
like,
say Khalil Mack would be more realistic
why wouldn't they give up their
Brian
guys?
Burns.
Brian
Because
Burns is
they already-
furious. He's not re-signing.
Well, you don't know that. He could just be maneuvering, just like a lot of these guys do. We didn't think Jonathan Taylor was going to re-sign.
Aaron,
Mike Evans said he's not going to re-sign.
They're going to win 1 or 2 games, and they don't.
They're going to be awful.
And they don't own a pick. If you're willing to give them picks, they will absolutely move off their people.
I'm just not buying it. They had such a great offer on the table for Burns last year. I realize it's a different situation. I find it really hard to believe. I bet they try to keep him as hard as possible. Now, Khalil Mack's a guy on a team that's not going anywhere fast and is not happy. Now, he's not saying he's going to sit out, but I think he could be had for the right price.
Well, guys,
guy like
honestly,
Cam Jordan, if the Saints aren't going to make the playoffs, he's older. I don't think you're getting a guy in his prime. That's what I'm saying. I think you have to get one of the older guys who's balling out.
Well, I don't know who it is. All right. I don't know how many people are going to be interested. How many other guys are, when you put Burns or a Donnell Hunter or guys like that on the block, if that does happen, you're going to have other people that are interested.
Yeah.
So what do you want to outbid? Do you have them in your future for down the road? How are the Jags thinking when it comes to Josh Allen, where he is versus who they would pay? Donnell Hunter on like a 1-year deal right now. Would they pay him if they go in and got him? Depending on how much capital you give up, that's part of the plans, right? I mean, you can't just rent a guy, I don't think, for 2 months. Marcel Darius, they took on that contract at the time when they did that, and he stayed with them for a couple more years. So you're getting more out of it. And I think it has to be kind of that part of a move. The bottom line is this: you can tell me they have to pay Trevor and they got to pay this guy, they got to pay this guy. They got to have pass rushers too. They've got to have elite players on the front. That's the way the NFL works. That's what we're seeing week in, week out from everyone else. So they're going to have to pay, whether it's Josh, Hunter, Burns, somebody. They're going to have to pay.
Well, let me
to
ask
play
you
at
this.
that position.
If the offense was scoring 28 a game, would they still need to pay
I would
somebody?
say probably you'd feel a little different about it. But I still think this is not about the AFC South. The Jags are going to score 28 points a game. But when you run up against San Francisco, who nobody even wants to play right now, they're like, take them off the schedule. Well, then that's a problem because you don't think you're good enough to beat them. They just beat the Buffalo Bills, who are amongst the league's elite. They went toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs and had an awful day on offense or would have beat them. So they're right there with some of the teams elite, or the elite teams in the NFL. But it does feel like San Fran and even Philly are on a different level. than everybody else in the National Football League. So if that's what this year is really about, you've got all your eggs in this basket because all the money's been spent and everything else. Well, you did save some money around the deadline to be able to make a move, a significant one. And I think you got to do it. I think you got to do it. And I don't know which guy it is. I really don't. I don't care which guy
I don't think
it
they
is.
do it. I don't think they make a move. I think they trust in the offense to get better. I think if the team was scoring 28 a game, it wouldn't be a similar conversation. People would be able to stomach the lack of pass rush because the coverage is good, because the run defense is good, and because the offense is winning games. The fact that you're relying on defense to win games scares the fan base, as it should, because the pass rush is not there.
Here's the other thing, Aaron. Somebody just wrote in the week, Dabo, 22. Pass rush worse than expected. Defense as a whole better than expected. And I chuckle at it because that can't be the case. Again, they're not playing poorly up front. They're not. You don't do what they're doing to teams that are good, like the Bills and the Chiefs and everybody except Houston, and play poor there. You don't. That's not. If you were playing poorly up front, you'd be getting exposed. So it's not as splashy, I get it. But the Jags, I'm not sitting here and telling you the Jags suck up front. I think the Jags are playing okay up front. I just think they can go from okay to really good if they go get somebody.
Agreed.
And so that's the jump. And you brought that up. Hey, if you go get somebody in the secondary, and by the way, if you want to throw Patrick Surtain's name out there, they ain't trading him, all right? Denver might rip it all down, but they're not trading Patrick Surtain.
Okay.
I can't imagine they would do that. You got to build around somebody there, and he's fantastic. But the bottom line is, I don't know how much you can get better in the secondary than they're playing, at least right now through 5 weeks. Linebacker position is pretty damn solid. Like, where are you going to upgrade that?
And you got some depth.
The receiver position is pretty damn good. The running back position, the quarterback position, you said it, the tight end position is pretty good. Nobody's out there that's going to make you this much better. I agree with you guys on the offensive line that, sure, you could always upgrade. I just disagree that anybody's going to be able to be available that will upgrade you to the point we're talking about on the defensive front. So the Jaguars' biggest position where they can take a jump from where they're playing right now, and again, this is not to say they're playing poorly, is on that front. Now, Devon Smoot, Devon Hamilton might help you a little bit, but one more move in some capacity could help you a lot of bit toward the end of this year. And I got to believe they're looking at it. They know that. They all in right now on this year. They've got to be all in. And they just flipped their season to 3-2 with a winnable stretch coming up. So they could be right in the position they want to be in by the time they make this move and get even better. I think it just screams 2017 all over again when they made the Darius move, really, Kasey. I mean, and that was so big. The only thing that this doesn't scream about that time frame is nobody was like, you need somebody on the defensive front in 17. Everybody was surprised by the fact that they did it. This time around, we're all like, hey, you could use somebody on the defensive front. That's the difference. And there are people that look like they're going to be available. Look like it. I don't know if that's this isn't a Madden trade now, okay?
I don't see the Jags making a move for like a Chase Young or a Donnell Hunter. If anything, I think it's like one of these guys who was a first-round pick 7 years ago, who never lived up to it, who needs a change of scenery. I could see that happen.
Well, here's the deal.
Cool. They're going to trade for Chase on.
Well, here's the deal. This is why they can't do that. Because they could have done that all summer.
Yeah.
They chose not to go get that guy all summer. From Clowney to Floyd to Houston to Jan to whoever.
Who, by the way, has, I think, 6 or 7 sacks right now.
I mean, the guy, if you were going to trade that you thought you missed on, would probably be Clowney. Doesn't he, like, lead the league in pressures?
Yeah, he's actually
playing really well.
Monster year.
But
as is Yannick Ngakoue.
I just don't think that's it. I think it's a bigger name, a more blockbuster sure thing to go fortify that front and make you even better than you already are. And by the way, I think the Jags haven't even played close to their best football. Like, I think they're on the rise. They're going to play better football. But again, this is about San Francisco and Philly. It's not about Houston, Indianapolis, and Tennessee. Remember that. That's what 2023 should be about right now. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. Warmer today, but still with comfortable humidity with a good deal of sunshine. The afternoon high between 80 and 85, dropping into the upper 50s tonight and becoming cloudy tomorrow with a few showers late in the day. Highs near 80 degrees. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Don't miss Beards' incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Let me help you get a little something for free with the air conditioning team I use. It's Bold City Heating and Air. Tell them Brent sent you and you get a free duct cleaning with the purchase of a new unit. BoldCityAC.com. Here's why I've partnered up with Bold City Heating and Air. It's a Jacksonville-grown and family-owned and operated business. Most AC places locally have been sold to corporations, not Bold City Heating and Air. And they take care of you the old-fashioned way. Awesome communication, awesome customer service, and they have an awesome new look. BoldCityAC.com for a tune-up on that overworked AC unit. BoldCityAC.com.
Did you know Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm? Morgan & Morgan even covers you if you get hurt in Sandwich, Illinois, or why not, North Carolina. Morgan & Morgan makes starting a claim easy.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get into the game at Best Bet. Come enjoy the best in-card games, hospitality, and fun at Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park. You don't have to be a poker pro to have a great time. Featuring poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Pai Gow. Wager on exciting simulcast races and enjoy delicious food and drink. Our card rooms are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Valor Bare-Knuckle is back in Jacksonville. The legend Ken Shamrock playing host, and the card is highlighted with a heavyweight bout. Valor Bare-Knuckle highlights combat sports in its truest form. It's one night, October 27th, and it's at UNF Arena, an intimate setting surrounding the electrifying bout circle. October 27th at UNF Arena. For ticket information, go to valorbk.com. Don't miss it. Raw, electric, exhilarating. Valor Bare-Knuckle 2 in Jacksonville, October 27th, valorbk.com.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine.
If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville. Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Wenner, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Car Bravo is here at Nimnik Buick GMC, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnik Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Hey, it's a win-win for everyone. You always win at Nimnik Buick GMC. I've always won 6 different cars purchased for our family. Terrific selection of used cars under $20,000 at Nimnik. Experience used for you with Car Bravo online at nimnikbuickgmc.com or visit the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC. We are professional grade.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now. Ooma. What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out, plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
We just had a moment in here. You and me.
Yeah, man. And it was over technology, which is weird.
It was.
Because you're usually
I got my new phone.
50 years behind the time.
My new iPhone 15.
Congrats.
And it came last week while I was in London, so I transferred everything over. It's so easy.
You got the Pro Max model.
Yeah.
You get Pro Max video on that.
You know what's interesting? The Pro Max, definitely they made a change, and I didn't realize this change. It's a little, it's at least skinnier, if not smaller, than the 13 that I had. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason for that is on the 13, unless you have big fingers, you can't type with like one hand.
Yeah.
You can't get all the way over.
It's called ergonomics.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably why they did this. I don't know.
That's why. No, I'm sure it is. Sure, comfort, holdability, it's important.
So I haven't figured out all the bells and whistles on it yet, but you're getting a new one too.
My Pixel is on the way. It's going to be here on the 13th. It's got a feature I think you would actually love. You open up an article and you tell your assistant, summarize this for me.
Oh.
And then Google just tells you what the article's about.
Wow.
Which is pretty dope.
That is pretty good.
I love that.
Why couldn't we have gone to school when they had phones?
How easy it was?
Yeah.
You're sitting there flipping pages in an encyclopedia, licking your finger.
I feel like I could be a doctor.
Tell that to the JOI doc when he calls in. Hey, what you do isn't that hard.
Not if I have Google Assistant.
I can do this. Let me Google how to replace a hip. How do we do this thing? Is there a YouTube video for that I can watch?
I do get excited. You know what I like about you, though? I think you're wrong.
Oh.
Because I'm like an Apple guy.
Okay.
But you're like firm on the
I am
Pixel
entrenched in the Google ecosystem.
Yeah, you are. Like you're locked in.
Take my money,
You're not
please.
changing. I've seen so many people that said, "Oh, the Android or this or that," and then they move over to the iPhone eventually.
Well, the difference is that a lot of the people who move to iPhone like ease of use or fashion, right? Ease of use because it's just easier, and it's easier because there's not as much customization. Like with my Pixel, I can customize everything, so it becomes a little more complicated the more options you have. But the thing I love about the Google products, and really all Android products, doesn't even have to be Google, Samsung too, is that if you want to know what's coming on the iPhone in 2 or 3 years, just look at what Google's doing right now, because that's how it works.
Really?
You guys just got 2 or 3 features on that iPhone that Google's had forever. Check out my new feature I'm getting. This magic tool in the photos now, I could take a picture of you, I could select you, using AI, make you bigger or smaller without changing the picture behind you. I could totally just invent new pictures based on the pictures I'm taking. I can make people disappear. I can make them bigger or smaller. I can do everything. Pro options on the photos. It's great. The summarized thing is great. I got my assistant answering spam calls for me and giving me transcripts.
Wow.
I haven't talked to a telemarketer in 2 years.
How about that?
Love it.
So Google's ahead of Apple is what you're telling me.
Way ahead. Forget it.
Forget about it.
But the difference there is that when you have new innovative things, they're buggy. You haven't done them before.
Yeah.
And so you can have, screw-ups in there, whereas Apple wants to see everyone use it successfully for 3 years before they put it on a phone, and then you never really have crashes or anything like that, and people love that about Apple.
One of my latest curiosities of random thoughts I just tweeted out or X'd out. Why do they ask you, like, what color phone you want?
Because there's
options? Like 4 options, right? Hey, the blue or the black or the silver.
What did I get?
You don't see it. You get the cover
You don't
anyway.
always get the case. I'll often not use a case.
Really?
Yeah, but listen, these engineers work for years making these phones as slim and sexy as possible, and then you're going to chunk it up with this giant black rubber case on it.
Well, I'm paying a lot of money for this thing. I got to protect it.
But imagine if you went to the gym for a year straight to have this chiseled physique.
I do.
And then you just wore triple fat goose double down jackets all the time. Like, you want to show it off. These are beautiful pieces of equipment here.
Yeah, they are.
I love it.
I'm not putting my phone at risk. I mean, I got to get it. Plus, they got to sell me on the $60 case that costs like 3 cents to
the
make.
other thing, $60 for a case.
It's unbelievable.
Out of control.
When I did get everything, they're like, hey, you can get 20% off if you buy 3 different accessories.
Did you buy any dongles? Apple loves a good dongle. USB-C cords now, huh?
Oh, the C, yeah.
You and I can share cords now. Oh, you got to buy them.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I spent more money in the last 2 months trying to charge my old phone because what happened is I had to go to the mag charger.
Yeah.
I couldn't charge it the regular way anymore.
That's wild, yeah.
Well, I kept forgetting it everywhere. So I had to go,
they're not cheap, by the way.
So then I had to go, like in London, forgot it, had to go buy one. I got everywhere I go, I got to buy one.
And you go to the official,
a new phone anyway.
You go to the official Apple store to buy these things?
No. I mean, I
like
bought
online?
It someplace.
Okay. No. I thought you were one of these guys that didn't buy third party. You're spending $120 a wire.
No. I bought it someplace. Did you see Eric Mangini, the latest moron out there?
What did he say?
I saw this clip this morning, I think it was. And Mangini's talking about the Jags game. And Nick Wright is on the, what is he?
FS1.
Is that Fox? Is that a Fox thing? And so he's on the show with, who is it? Chris Broussard as well?
Yes.
And so I just see the clip. And Mangini basically is saying, like, I don't get what you saw in Trevor Lawrence. This was the offensive line and the defensive line of the Jags that won the game. And I was like, this guy didn't watch the game. There was one game on Sunday, and he didn't watch the game.
He was busy doing something else.
And then I got thinking, I'm like Mangini was bad, right? He was just a bad.
Awful Jets coach. Not as awful, but still bad Browns coach.
And I'm kind of thinking, like, why would Fox even have him on? Like, what's the attraction to Mangini? He's like boring.
Yeah,
to
he's
begin
not a
with,
personality.
Right? No personality.
He has no legacy in the game of football. Like, I don't really understand what happened there. Maybe he's related to someone at the network.
Like, I don't understand the draw. And then to say what he said, I just was like, I don't know as much football as this guy. I understand that. But this guy can't claim to have watched this game if that's what he said.
That's a wild statement. It's a wild statement.
It's just amazing, some of the stuff that people say. I just don't think, I really do believe Jags fans are right about this. It's just not a team in Jacksonville that the national folks want to pay attention to, or a franchise in Jacksonville that they want to pay attention to.
Maybe the payoff isn't as big as writing about a New York team or a California team
I don't
or
even
a
know
Texas
if it's
team.
intentional. I really don't. I don't know if it's intentional. I just think it's kind of like a subconscious. I don't think the Jags are alone here. I think Seattle's a little bit like this. You know, they're corner of the country, and when they were really good, it was cool because they had to. You know, if the Jags get good for 3 straight years, everybody's going to have to talk about it. They'll pay attention.
Sure.
But, I mean, Jags are kind of a fun story even nationally. You got Doug, who's won a Lombardi. You've got Trevor, who obviously is a rising star. I mean, they have players.
But
like, this should be a bit of an attraction around the league.
To play devil's advocate, Doug isn't the most charismatic coach. He's not one of the. He's not a lame-o dribbler, sure, but he's not one of these guys who's going to give you a sound cut to play all week.
I guess that's true.
Trev is similar in that respect, where you're never going to see Trev call somebody out. It's never going to be a sexy press conference with Trev. It's going to be steady and standard. It's like Tom Brady only made the headlines because of the Super Bowls. He wasn't making it on his press conferences.
Yeah, that's true. So Mangini's the latest dummy of the day, and Kasey likes to wake us up with a text of, I've already got 4 idiots of the day. I prefer to call it dummy of the day rather than idiot. Idiot sounds a little bit more, you never know if we might need Mangini down the road for something. So I'd say dummy sounds a little bit better than idiot. But you got some idiots of the day, dummies of the day. I call them dummies of the day. You call them idiots.
It's basically just like there's a lady in a Prius with like a New Hampshire tag. If you're going 40.
This is very detailed.
Yeah.
Please don't give the license plate.
No, I could. I took a picture.
Granite State, right?
I mean, if you're going 40 on Butler, you probably should just call it for driving in your life. Maybe just don't do that anymore. Shout out to the dude that lives in my neighborhood who had worked at a company driving a company vehicle that had one of those "How am I driving" stickers on the back of his car. Who drove faster in the school zone than out of the school zone.
Oh, boy.
So I called. I was like, bro, this dude sucks.
You did call?
I swear I called.
You called?
Yeah.
dropping a dime.
I've never heard of anybody
I was
that's ever
mad.
called.
I
You
was
really
so mad
called.
because like he is riding my bumper in the school zone. And I was like, bro, for the kids, chill. And then he like gets around me
children
in the school zone. He passes me in the school zone. I'm like, where are Jacksonville's finest to get my man's right here?
Don't say what business, but what industry was it?
I actually have no idea.
Okay. Right.
What does the sign say? Call if my driving is
How's
bad.
my
or something?
driving?
It said, how's my driving? So I was like, man, forget this guy. He lives in my neighborhood too. So then he passes me in the school zone. I'm like, dude, you're just a jerk. Like, I drive fast, but not in the school zone. And then I catch up to him and he's just going mad slow. So then somehow I end up behind him. I don't even know what I did. Something stupid. I was trying to pass him, probably got stuck in the right lane. So I'm behind him and I'm furious. We're going like 39 into 45. I'm like, I'm calling. Forget it. It's like 7 a.m.
Were they even open?
Yeah, it's like a
call center.
Yeah, it's like a call center. They're like, "What's the number?" I'm like, "K something." They're like, "Okay." I'm like, "It's bad, bro. It's bad. He's speeding in the speed zone in the school zone. Like this is a disaster."
Casey has inspired.
That is like the most old ladiest
I
thing
was so
I've
mad.
ever heard of. I can't believe you're the guy that did it.
I was so mad
because he's not calling because he's scared for the children's health.
No, he definitely isn't.
He's calling to screw up this guy's day.
Yeah, 100%.
This is revenge.
100%.
This is revenge.
I wanted this guy to know he was just not
I
cool.
have lived for 46 years, and I have never heard of anybody that has actually called the
I love
number
it.
on the
I
back
called
of
it.
the truck.
I think it's a great move. Way to go,
called.
Case.
I'm gonna actually tonight. I'm gonna drive around and see which house he lives in because I assume the car's parked out.
Easy now. You might be getting close to stalking.
And I'm just gonna see where he stays at.
It has inspired me. It has inspired me to have a new idea.
Are you going out for Halloween
I'm
or
just
something?
gonna back off. Just gonna see if he was cutting through the neighborhood or maybe live there. I guess.
What if I put up a graphic on Casey's box? How's my producing and then the number to the show?
And the phone will be blocked.
Hey, you can text in 904-362-9901. How's Casey's producing?
Not too good if we don't get out of this segment.
You're all over it, actually. You cued the music early, got us out a little bit earlier.
We're still in.
We're talking
You're on
hamstrings
your
when we
A-game
come
right
back.
now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's hamstrings when we come back.
Yes, sir. And joints
By the
and
way,
hips.
big, our actually first segment tied in a little bit with this third segment because Justin Jefferson is now on the shelf, which then you think automatically the way the Vikings are makes a guy like Danielle Hunter available and maybe some others on their roster, quite frankly.
Not so fast, Brent.
Well, maybe not, huh?
Maybe not.
We'll check in with your fantasy football team on the Justin Jefferson news. Everybody cares about Justin Jefferson
It's
today.
wild, right?
Isn't it amazing?
It's crazy.
What fantasy football has done. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
From selling out of a back of a car to one of the biggest outfitters in the Southeast, Baker Sports is quite the story. And on a daily basis, they are helping you write your story with a high school name or sports team across a uniform and so much more. And now it's a one-stop shop with Baker Sports, carrying Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. They already make you look good, and now they can help you look better than ever. Baker Sports, custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team. And it's easy to do at bakersport.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Sizzle to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text SIZZLE to 42424. That's Sizzle to 42424.
Frank, you got to come see my new windows from American Window Products. They're beautiful and they keep the house so cool.
Oh, slow down, Jim.
No, Frank. American Window Products is having a sale right now, and you said you wanted a locally owned business with qualified products and professional installers. Well, American Window Products has all that and more.
More?
Yes, selection and great prices at American Window Products.
Whoa, what's that number?
731-2247, a family-owned business since 1981. Check them out at AmericanWindowProducts.com. Call them, Frank.
I'm calling American Window Products right now, Jim. As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Let me help you get a little something for free with the air conditioning team I use. It's Bold City Heating and Air. Tell them Brent sent you and you get a free duct cleaning with the purchase of a new unit. BoldCityAC.com. Here's why I've partnered up with Bold City Heating and Air. It's a Jacksonville-grown and family-owned and operated business. Most AC places locally have been sold to corporations, not Bold City Heating and Air. And they take care of you the old-fashioned way. Awesome communication, awesome customer service, and they have an awesome new look. BoldCityAC.com for a tune-up on that overworked AC unit. BoldCityAC.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Supermarkets and stores need to keep you safe. So if you get hurt anywhere by anything, you could have a case. Morgan & Morgan makes starting a claim easy, and it's free. You only pay if you win your case. Price check.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross-country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out, plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season. Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Welcome back, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts, Aaron Schachter on a Tuesday afternoon. Ken Shamrock will join us in just a little bit as well as bare-knuckle fighting comes back to Jacksonville October 27th at UNF Arena. Some big wide receiver news around the NFL. Justin Jefferson going on injured reserve, and most recently Cooper Kupp came back, and we're going to talk about similar injuries with our doctor from JOI right now.
This week's injury update is brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI is the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dr. Carl Freeman joins us right now from JOI, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, and talk a little bit about Cooper Kupp especially, but hamstrings all around the National Football League, and the most recent is Justin Jefferson. Doc, thanks for taking a few minutes here on a Tuesday afternoon. Hope you're doing well, and well, it's good to see Cooper Kupp doing well, I guess, for everybody's fantasy football teams.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for having me. You're exactly right. And wide receiver Justin Jefferson of the Vikings is out now. You know, you saw him clenching his buttocks as he was walked off the field. You know, this is strange because the last couple of years it seems like there's an epidemic.
Yeah, go back to first Cooper Kupp. These injuries around the hamstring, or I guess is hamstring considered basically a soft tissue injury?
Sure. Well, you know, the hamstrings muscle is a very strong muscle. Think of the quadriceps in the front of the leg. That's your major power when you're extending your knee, you're pushing out. People forget that the hamstring is an equally powerful muscle group in the back of the leg, and it connects to your sits bone, kind of like that butt bone you're sitting on. And that's the connection point. This muscle group, just like quadriceps has 4, well, hamstrings has 5. They all come together in this big tendon that you're all sitting on if you're sitting right now. And that tendon unit has to accept all that force of any kind of forceful contraction. Like think about these Think about these wide receivers or these running backs as they're cutting or they're launching themselves. There's a lot of force going through that tendon. So this is definitely a soft tissue injury.
Yeah, and obviously Kupp's coming back from it. Justin Jefferson, it's got to be pretty significant for them to rule already, hey, he's going on injury reserve, going to miss 4 games, and sometimes the best way to get these things to heal instead of being a nagging injury is just to sit down and don't play for a month, right?
Well, that's the initial treatment for sure. These are very painful. And they're very debilitating. I've had patients who come in and they're having a hard time just doing prolonged standing, let alone playing football. And it affects you not just standing, but sitting and a lot of the movements you make. So these are very painful, deep buttock pains that people feel. And exactly just like you said, initial treatment, rest, get them out of the sport, kind of stop the repetitive activities, NSAIDs, ice, those type of things are our first line right away.
Dr. Carl Freeman with us, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. From a playing standpoint, especially in football, which is a violent game, and these guys play with pain all the time, I got to believe, although you just mentioned how painful they can be, as you're getting back and getting closer, you're like, hey, I'm there. Like, I feel good. And then you're like, yeah, but one little tug or coming back a bit too early, you can do it again. I mean, I'm sure that's what they were wrestling with a guy like Cooper Kupp, who did come back.
Yeah, and we've seen that in the past here in Jacksonville and around the NFL and other sports where these athletes will think that we've rehabbed the hamstrings well enough, and they'll try and come back, and then what do you know? They're out again with that high hamstring. It's a very challenging injury to recuperate.
Well, you obviously specialize in this. The hamstring, you mentioned it. It's associated with so many other things in your leg. A weak hamstring can cause a lot of problems in other parts of the leg, right?
It can. The hamstrings goes all the way down to across the knee. But the reason that I focus on the higher hamstring injuries is because I'm a hip specialist, and so it kind of falls into my bucket, even though it's not truly the hip. It's kind of near the hip, so I guess it falls into my neighborhood. So one of the things that we're doing nowadays on these is if we can't get them to recuperate with the injections, with the physical therapy, with the laser, and we even have shockwave therapy now, all these things we throw at it, if we can't get those things to get it done, then we'll go in with a scope and repair it.
Give us an idea of, normal us, like not a pro athlete, hamstring injury, and then obviously big-time athlete, fine-tuned engine injuries where whether you treat them differently or you also have to be more careful with one versus the other.
Yeah, that's a good question. Basically there's two groups of these types of injuries, and the first is when you pull that hamstring all the way off. This is a complete tendon rupture where the tendon is no longer attached to the bone. The times I've seen these are when people accidentally do the splits, like on a wet floor, or some of the athletes sometimes will accidentally do a splits. A lot of times that is the mechanism that causes these high hamstrings ruptures, and those almost always need to be treated with suture, tacked down with anchors, just like we do with rotator cuffs and a lot of other tendons that rupture and have to be repaired. So that's kind of the first group. And it doesn't matter whether you're a pro athlete or a weekend warrior, everyone gets treated the same in that one. The more difficult one to treat, and the one that has had such a revolution over the last few years, is these partial tears, and they tend to be undersurface tears. So kind of like the very terminal end of the tendon is still connected, but the whole broad footprint that tendon is supposed to be attached on has come off, and it tends to fill with a little bit of fluid in there and be painful and aching, hurt to sit, hurt to use your hamstrings to do things like walk or exercise, etc. And those we've had a kind of a little bit of a revolution in treatment, whereas a few years ago we just would have said rest it, try some anti-inflammatories, physical therapy, that kind of thing. Nowadays we're doing those still. Those are definitely still the first line, but then now we have a whole set of PRP injections. Some people are using stem cells in these, and then we're even doing repairs now on the partial tears, which is kind of a new surgery that we're doing.
Dr. Carl Freeman with us, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Dr. Freeman at Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, JOI, joins us weekly here to talk about some of the injuries around the NFL and maybe even a little bit closer to home if you're experiencing some of these injuries yourself or know a student athlete or somebody else that might be dealing with it. How do you view the hamstring in terms of especially the high-profile athlete injuries? Is it lack of stretching or hydration or just chance? Are some just going to go and you're going to get hurt and you can't really do anything about it?
Well, a lot of these are probably some type of acute on chronic injury where you have a repetitive injury. These are the guys who are getting the massage and all that by the training staff before the game and after the game, and then all of a sudden they finally get that acute event, that lunge, that cut that finally overloads that tendon and it breaks. But some of them are just brand new injuries, chance, bad luck.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I'm always fascinated. These guys are in such good shape, yet that finely tuned engine, it doesn't take much to put them on the shelf for a month like a guy like Justin Jefferson, right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Poor Jefferson.
Dr. Carl Freeman, thanks for giving us some insight on Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and the hamstring injuries. We know they're pretty prevalent in sports. Appreciate you joining us for a few minutes.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet. Dr. Carl Freeman from Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, and you can visit him if you have any hamstring or hip injuries in the San Marco location for JOY. When we come back, Ken Shamrock. I need a bunch of doctors on site for UNF Arena on October 27th. We got some bare-knuckle fighting going on that night.
Not sure they'll be punching hamstrings.
Might need a doctor on site this afternoon here.
Yeah, Case.
Might be punching Kasey or Aaron.
What? What happened?
I've hired Ken Shamrock to do it. Next on ESPN 690.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. Thank you for listening to ESPN 690.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Hey, poker fans, you're in for a treat this October at Best Bet. With over $690,000 in poker promotions paid out this month, this is no time to be on the sidelines. Highlights include the $400 GoPo 400 with $40,000 guarantee at Best Bet Orange Park, the $100,000 guarantee St. Augustine Championship, and the return of the World Poker Tour $1 million guarantee at Best Bet Jacksonville. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Come on, honey. It's so hot that...
It's too hot for your cheesy riddles.
Come on, please. It's so hot that...
Fine. How hot is it?
It's so hot, chickens are laying hard-boiled eggs. It's so hot, we're boiling pasta in the pool. It's so hot that...
Yeah, I get it. It's hot.
It's not just hot. It's Hammond hot.
And only Hammond can handle Hammond Hot. Any AC company can handle kind of hot, sort of hot, maybe even pretty hot. But when your system is running 24 hours a day, you can't get to the temperature you want, and you strategically open and close vents to redirect air, that's when you have to call Hammond. After all, Hammond has been North Florida's most trusted AC authority for your neighbors since 1957. With techs who not only know how to get your system running again, but also how to keep it running at peak efficiency and performance. Remember, only Hammond can handle Hammond Hot. HammondAir.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's Twin Tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com, 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer, Florida license number CFC 1428211.
The downsides to a 401k are limited investment options. What we'll find, and nothing against anybody who's doing it. Listen, if I wasn't an investment advisor, I might even be doing the same thing, but lots of target date funds. We don't like the target date funds because they only take into consideration the date. They don't take into consideration anything else. I think they give investors in retirement plans a false sense of security.
More at guardingyournestegg.com.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC registered investment advisor. Florida license D056341.
Boot Barn honors a Western legacy built by those who persevere through resourceful determination. Ariat honors that same legacy by bringing innovative technology to classic pieces. Driven by a dedication to the craft, Ariat blends timeless Western artistry with advanced performance features for the modern cowboy and rodeo athlete. Out west, ingenuity is second to none. Ariat at Boot Barn.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Michael Rothstein's reporting the Falcons have acquired receiver Van Jefferson from the Rams. Jefferson struggled to find a substantial role with LA this season, partly because of the emergence of rookie star Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. Justin Jefferson heading to injured reserve. The Viking star receiver will miss at least 4 games with a strained hamstring. From ESPN's Adam Schachter, Dolphins running back Devon Achane expected to miss multiple weeks with a knee injury. The highly anticipated NHL debut of top overall pick and generational talent Connor Bedard takes place on this NHL opening night. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins welcoming Bedard and the Blackhawks.
Sid, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, like you can go down the list, and it's pretty special to get that for our opening night, and just so excited, and I'm sure there'll be some nerves, but just gonna try to take it all in, and once the game starts, of course, you're just trying to win and be the best you can.
On the Pat McAfee Show, Connor Bedard, by the way, he was 20 days old when Crosby made his NHL debut in 2005. Penguins Blackhawks tonight, coverage 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you which teams need to make a quarterback change if they want to save their season. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back, Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. 4 o'clock hour we go. We talk more football coming up in just a bit, but right now we're going fighting. That's right. Valor BK coming back, or coming really to UNF Arena on October 27th, but Ken Shamrock's coming back. He must have enjoyed the conversation the last time so much, and he's back here in the ESPN 690 studios. The legend Ken Shamrock needs no introduction. What's happening? Good to see you.
I appreciate you guys having me back, man. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Great,
we're fantastic. Last time, I feel like we almost made a movie, a biography about you. It was such a fantastic conversation.
And before we get into it this time, big shout out to whoever's buying your glasses for you, Ken. Ken is rocking some of the more stylish Oakleys I think I've ever seen for some seeing eyeglasses here. I'm very, very jealous of these things.
I figure if I can't see and I've got to wear glasses, let's make sure they're at least some sort of sporting glasses, right?
Yeah, they look good.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey,
You
has
got it.
anybody ever started an interview with nice glasses?
You know what? There's a first for everything. We just had it.
Don't let him fool you. Look at the way this dude is dressed. He's rocking the ice around the neck. He's got the Valor T-shirt going. He's got the hair all styled up. Ken knows fashion now. Come on.
You just
Ken knows
puckering
fashion.
up, man, because you don't know what I've asked him to
Listen,
do later to
keep
you.
talking to me
Oh,
like
my
that, and I'm
goodness.
going to ask Ken to take you outside.
So listen, I guess we're going to just get it started here, huh?
Well, hey, how's this? Last time we had you in, you guys were kicking this thing off. How's it going? You said you've been making your way around the state of Florida trying to find talent, and obviously you already had one big event that was sold out, and now you got this one coming up later in the month.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. The last, I would say, probably 3 months, we've been going all over Florida, the state of Florida, and going to different gyms, boxing gyms, MMA gyms, and we're trying to find, talent from the Florida area to put on our undercard. And I've been very, very excited on what we've been able to find. We've got some great fights. We've got guys that are from different gyms. A lot of beef with some of them because they're from the same weight class and they say they're the best and the other guy says they're the best. So we're going to put them in the bout circle and we're going to find out.
When you say you're trying to find talent, there's I know I guess not all new. People fight all the time. But for what you're doing, it is relatively new. So how are you identifying talent, especially young talent, where you might not have experience in this?
Well, I think that especially with my eye and being able to look at fighters, I've done it for a long time. In fact, I did my own tryouts when I had Lions Den, so I can actually see talent. So what we do is we put gloves on them and we have them spar for 1 3-minute round. And in that 3-minute round, they have to go by our rule sets. No clinching. Obviously, we have to wear gloves because we don't want them cutting each other before they actually fight. And so you can't go up against the ropes or that's a penalty. So we make them fight that way, which is difficult because they're used to going against the rope and bouncing off them, and you can't clinch. And so having that rule sets in there gives me an idea by watching them when they spar for that 1 3 minute on whether or not they have that skill set to fight in our bout circle. So, and I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised that probably 90% of them, when you explain the rules to them, they performed very well. So we have a lot of young talent that's going to be on the undercard of Valor Bare Knuckle on the 27th. And I'm excited at the UNF because the talent that we have are guys that literally have beefs one another, and they're in the same weight class. They're from the same state, and they're trying to say that they're the best. And the other guy says he's the best. And so we just say, okay, well, let's put you in there and let's find out.
A little emotion behind it.
Oh, for sure. And I'll say one of the more, not depressing, but sad things you'll see, man, is when you got these two fighters and all the hype in front of a fight and you see them at the weigh-in and they're jawing at each other, pushing each other. And then, picture gets taken, night before the fight, maybe at some club and they're shaking hands or talking or something like that. And I get, the beef is the beef and that's great. But I want to talk for a second about these tryout rules because as a fighter that forced action isn't always what you're going to encounter in the ring, but in these bare knuckle fights, it kind of is the pace of the match.
You got no choice, especially with what the vision that I put together, which with, obviously there's no cages or no ropes. So, you think about not having that. Most people don't understand that when you back up, you got nowhere to stop now. So if a guy's coming after you and you're backing up, your momentum's going to take you out of bounds. You lose a point, you lose a round. There's only 3 rounds. So it's important. So they have to use footwork. There's a lot of speed to that, right? And it engages in fighting because you can't back up. That means you got to go side to side.
And you can't clinch.
Striking distance.
Yeah.
And then adding the no clinch.
Yeah.
It's come on now. Where are you going to rest? So it really forces action, and that's what we're really about, is putting on great fights. Fans want to see fights, and fighters want to fight.
Yeah, they want entertainment. They want highlights, and you're going to get it with this style. ValorBK.com, by the way, for more information. It's October 27th at UNF Arena. Ken Shamrock with us right now on ESPN 690. It's interesting as Aaron's asking you that, and you talk about the bout circle, and that's what Ken's talking about. No ropes, no cage. I mean, it's a circle. It's open. There are no hidden sight lines. Wherever you're sitting, you can see it, which is kind of cool in itself. But from a fighting standpoint, spatial awareness must feel different, right?
It is big, and that's when you see these guys in tryouts and they're trying to figure that out, right? Because it's completely different when you can't clinch. So that's a big thing about spacing, because in most guys, it's called a cheat code. Mike Tyson used to have Mike Tyson all the time, man, whereas the guys figured it out, not letting him counter him. They'd do 1, 2, they get their punches in, and then they'd hug him. So he couldn't counter him, right? And so it just got frustrating, almost to a point where you bet Evander Holyfield's ear. But, hey, we'll look past that. But
it was bad to watch, though. It wasn't fun to watch.
And every match.
It was great to watch.
Well, that part might have been fun to watch.
But what I'm saying, when it comes to the fighting and guys are clinching, that's the worst thing in fighting.
It's
like, stop.
Or
fight.
running, right? Like Mayweather running from end to end just to keep the points in the round.
And
it kind of sucks.
But you can't do that. Like the way Mayweather lays on the ropes and he has the shoulder to block. You can't do that, right? So that's what's really fun about bare knuckle and Valor bare knuckle is our rule sets. It really forces guys to have to fight. And really, that's what fans come to see, and that's what fighters come to do.
We talk a lot of football here on the show, and when we talk to coaches or players, and it's like, hey, are you good at tackling? And some positions you're like, you have to tackle. There's other positions, are you a willing tackler, right? So you got to want to tackle from maybe the cornerback position or something like that, or special teams. I think about that word willing in your arena right now with Valor BK, because as you're going around and finding talent, it might sound good until you put them in a tryout. And then you've got to be a willing fighter, bare knuckle fighter, right? Different than boxing or other things. Do you find that sometimes where you're like, you get somebody to sign up, be like, yeah, I'm in. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. I'm not. Or you might get an MMA guy that's like, listen, I like this, but I'm not doing that.
Right. Yeah, we haven't run into that. Where, like I said, it's young, and we don't make them bare knuckle. We put gloves on them. So the only way we're going to know that is when they actually get in to do bare knuckle.
Yeah.
But, in my experience as a fighter and what I've gone through in the years, whether they're MMA or boxing, when you say bare knuckle, they understand what that is. And so anybody that is willing to step in and do the tryouts and want to do bare knuckle, 90% of them have already experienced it. And then that other 10% already understands what it is. So I don't foresee anybody actually going in there and going, oh, no, it's like, this is real bare knuckle.
They know what they're signing up for.
I think they really understand what they're getting into.
Has a tryout ever changed someone's approach or style so much that you didn't feel like you got to see who they really were in that sense?
Yeah, what really happens a lot, and I've seen that probably in about 30% of them, is they end up getting gassed within that 3 minutes because they don't have that clinch and they don't have those ropes to kind of
pacing
recover.
is all different,
Right, because that pace is very, very fast. And so I've seen a lot of that where they've come back and said, dang, that is really fast.
I feel like when we've talked to you, we're talking with Ken Shamrock here on ESPN 690 when you had it in the last time, but the bare knuckle, the roots of this is just combat sports at its truest form. Why is there such an appetite for that? I get the entertainment value, right? I get, hey, let's go have a great Friday night at UNF Arena, October 27th, and we'll throw a few pops back. We'll watch some fights, great stuff, and it'll be highlight-driven because of the bout circle and the way you set up the rules. But why is there a hardcore appetite for combat at its truest form?
Well, that's a question I think that has to be answered. But for me, I think that, making the changes in whatever event you have as the world changes, and you look on the social media and all the things that are going on there, Instagram, TikTok, everybody wants something within 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And, that attention span has been shortened. And so just like with football where they put the rules in so you can't touch the quarterback, you can't touch the receivers, you can't hit them, it makes points. It's you're scoring points. It makes it more exciting. They change the rules so that the fan base can stay excited in those things. Well, fighting is no different. Fans want to see something fast. So the rules that we've put in, the way we've changed it, it makes fights fast. So we're doing 3 rounds. Most of those fights end in the first round. So we're really paying attention to what fans want and how the world is changing, where they want things to happen now. So the rule sets that we put in there, that I've put in there to make those changes so the fans get what they want. And I truly believe that the fighters is what they want also.
Yeah, that's interesting. To build something around what fans want, but that can also fit for what the fighters want. That second part of that is pretty cool.
We mentioned we mentioned Tyson. I remember being younger. Anytime Tyson pay-per-view would come on, you buy the pay-per-view, $60. It'd be over in 35 seconds, and you wouldn't even feel ripped off.
But you were entertained.
You saw murder. Yeah.
Are you entertained?
Yes. Now it's those fights that go the 13 rounds, judge's decision. You saw dancing for 8 rounds. It's like, man, what did I spend my money on? Love it. Gotta love it. Yeah. And all sports are doing it. To your point, baseball did it more
Baseball
often
just
this year.
did it.
NFL's doing it. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the concept of it was we wanted it to be fan-friendly. Like the fans come to watch a fight, we're going to give them a fight. But at the same time, as a fighter and me having that experience in there, making those rule changes, I knew fighters that love to fight would love this because they don't want nobody holding on to them. They don't want something on their hand that's going to make another fighter better. They want pure God-given talent.
Yeah, and they're actually doing something that they would watch probably and be entertained by, at the very root of it. ValorBK.com is the place to go to get more information about Ken and what he's doing, and obviously the big event coming up here in Jacksonville, October 27th. It's on a Friday night at UNF Arena. So I really love the venue. We were talking in the break. The venue's fantastic for this. They've got the new suite over there at UNF Arena. It's an intimate setting, if you will, and it can get loud in there. You got the big video board too. You've been over there to see it. I think this is going to be a fantastic setting for this.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be fun too, and I want to make sure that people understand how they get their tickets too. They can go to ValorBK.com and get their tickets when they go on sale, and I believe they're going on sale in the next day or two, I believe. So they're going to sale now. So get your tickets. Get your tickets now because the last time we did this event, they sold out in an hour. I don't know if it'll be the case here, but if you get your chance, go to ValorBK.com and get your tickets now.
What did you learn from the first event that you did? Obviously, it was a sellout, and it was great. I mean, was it like, hey, this is what we're doing again, we're rolling it out, or do you learn a lot of things? Maybe some you can tell us, some you can't.
Yeah, I think that, especially since COVID hit, it really slowed us down. I just couldn't push myself to do events with no crowd. I just didn't understand how that could work. So we kind of pulled back and started working on our business structure. Started getting other people involved. We also worked on our app so that we can stream it live and on our webpage. So we did a lot of stuff like that. But as far as the actual fights itself, is really, to me, I thought if we were going to, like being here, and I think it's a great fight town, is the reason why we chose here, is I want to try to, instead of what we did where we got fighters from all over the state, we wanted to focus more on local talent, so that we can and find our own stars. Like, we brought in a lot of other stars that were already made through MMA or boxing. And I thought, like, if we're going to start really taking Valor Bare Knuckle seriously, we want to build our own champions, want to build our own stars. So we started looking at the gyms and started finding some of the local talent to try to find out if there's any of those nuggets around here that we can start promoting and we can start building as our own stars.
Do you have an end game in mind? A lot of people, when they start a new business or a new journey, they don't necessarily think about where the finish line might be. But in something like this, often when you're starting up a new league or a new sport, it ends up getting eaten up by the bigger guys. And I don't know if that's the goal for you. Are you looking to take this all on your own? Like, what's the end game for you?
No, I look at this thing as it's going to be a slow build, but I think we're going to be forced to build fast just because of the nature of how people are eating this stuff up. But my vision has always been to be number one, the number one fight promotion in the world. So I didn't get into this to be second best, never got into anything to be second best. So I'm really pushing this thing and going to stick with it until we get to that point. The reason why I believe in this is because of the nature of the fight. It's fast, it's quick, it's exciting, and every time I see a combat thing, I put it up next to the UFC, because that's the fastest one I've seen up to this date. I put boxing by that. It's UFC just crushes it. When I put Valor Bare Knuckle and the show up next to the UFC, it is so much faster and the fights are so much more exciting that with what I see this thing growing very quickly.
Well, it looks like it is. ValorBK.com. Check out the website, too, because if you're not completely familiar with it, all you have to do is watch the Valor BK 1 replay right there. It takes you right to it so you can see some of the action, and it's going to be an entertaining night. There's no doubt about it. Tickets on sale right now for UNF Arena on October 27th. Again, I think the setting is fantastic. And also part of this, and which is cool, is that you'll be given back to FOP, Fraternal Order of Police. Take us a little bit behind the scenes. We shared a lot of your story the last time you were on a few months back on ESPN 690, but you have an incredible story, an incredible background, and there's obviously a tie here of why that's a special place in your heart to give back to here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, as a kid, I kind of went through the group home and the systems and all that, and we spoke a little bit earlier about how sports kind of saved my life and gave me an opportunity to vent my frustration into something positive. And, to me, when you look at what's going on in the world, to me, it's a shame that we're not really giving appreciation to the men and women in blue that are out there every single day protecting us. Whether you like that or not, that's the facts. And so it's important for Valor to be something more than just a fight organization. We want to be able to do more than that, be bigger than that, and be able to help out people. And so that's kind of why we aligned ourselves, is they just like what they're doing. They have a thing out there called the PAL program, which is, like I said, something that I went through as a kid. And they're doing the same thing with their PAL program with their kids, is giving kids an opportunity to vent their frustration and their anger into something positive, whether it be baseball or basketball or football or whatever else they got going out there. It's really given them an opportunity to get these kids motivated and going in a different direction and feeling like they're relevant in the world now.
That's a good thing. It's pretty cool stuff. You mentioned a bunch of other sports. I was thinking of this. You talk football a little. You know what's going on in baseball, the pitch clock. How big of a sports fan are you outside of the world that you've lived in, much of the fighting world that you've lived in?
Yeah, I follow sports. I'm always liking to get involved. I always like to see challenges and opportunities for young athletes, especially when you're talking about that 1% in the world of guys that get in and play professional sports. So I follow it. I'm a big fan. Probably a bigger fan of football because I'm in 3 different leagues. I'm in a redraft league and 2 dynasty leagues. So, yeah, I follow it pretty closely.
I wonder that sometimes. I was telling you before we even started, I love the psychology of sports. I mean, the psychology of fighting totally factors in, I think, in a lot of different ways than maybe a lot of the other sports, but there's got to be some commonalities there too. It's an individual sport, even though you have a team behind you. You're out there by yourself. I mean, you've got 11 guys on offense and defense in football that you have to rely on. They've got to be on the same page. But the psychology of it's got to be similar in terms of the want to, the competitive spirit. Like, I talk about this with the Jags in town. People think, if you think you're competitive playing Monopoly or card games or whatever else, and which everybody thinks they're competitive, right. And you are to some degree, right?
Or cornhole.
Or anything, right? We love to be competitive. Yeah. But you ain't anything close to those guys right there. There's that 1%, that competitive difference, the drive, the want to. I mean, you see it in the sports world that you've lived too. It's just different, isn't it?
It really is. And when you talk about that, there's this human factor to it too. It takes just this one thing happens to an individual on a team and it could crush your team. You look at what Buffalo did. They go up there and they play the Jags and, they get crushed. But the week before that, they just destroy another team, You just think about the Miami. Like, Miami goes in, scores 70 points, goes back, plays Buffalo, everything's great. They get destroyed. Buffalo goes up to England and they play the Jags and, they get beat. So it's just that human element. There's just no way you can tell when somebody's going to put on an elite performance, because when they do, you can't beat them, right? So it really is interesting to watch it play out, because there's no way you can just go, okay, man, these guys are the best, and then another week later you're like, what happened to them?
Yeah, I love what you just said there too. I say it about in the youth sports world, people aren't robots.
Right.
They really aren't. Like, there is that human element to it that you don't know what you're going to get on October 27th at UNF Arena.
Oh, I know what we're going to get, man. I say there's no doubt what's happening there. There are going to be some great fights.
Yeah, there are, but you don't know which guy's going to win and which guy's going to bring his A game. Which guy's going to have it that night, right? Yeah. And that's what, I guess that's why we love sports.
We're talking about all these other sports. One thing that is really supercharged fan engagement in all the sports right now is how gambling is being legalized all across the country. And while we're still waiting here in Florida for a local solution, I got to imagine once that all gets settled, Valor BK may want to get their hands on some kind of infrastructure there for some localized betting happening.
Of course. I mean, Mike, anything that's going to generate revenue, that's what businesses need to do, right? They all think about the revenue because, one, you got to pay the fighters, and that's one thing that we really want to make sure as we grow as a business, to make sure that the fighters feel like they're a part of us.
Well, I know you're a businessman now with cool glasses. Once the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock.
At once? What, you hear him doubting you now, Ken?
Yeah, like, I got to agree with him, man. I don't want that tag.
He doesn't want that anymore.
No. World's dangerous promoter.
Hey, there we go. I like it. Hey, we love having you in. Have a heck of an event. ValorBK.com. Again, tickets are on sale. UNF Arena, October 27th. It's just fun to watch this thing grow and kind of learn from it. And this grassroots effort almost, it's going to explode. It's going to continue to explode. And the man behind it is Ken Shamrock. Good luck with it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
All right, we're back at it. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Warmer today, but still with comfortable humidity with a good deal of sunshine. The afternoon high between 80 and 85, dropping into the upper 50s tonight and becoming cloudy tomorrow with a few showers late in the day. Highs near 80 degrees. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Don't miss Beards' incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Tune into our high-energy, multi-platform show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690 in a variety of video streaming platforms as well. As the seasons change, so do the sports topics. It's football season now, and we're bringing you all things sports weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. And you can tailgate with us at the Duval House for every Sunday home game this football season. Fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
It's fantasy football like you've never played it before. You love fantasy football, right? Of course you do. Do you like competing? Yeah. You like winning? Absolutely. It's Fantasy Card Breaks with Divoli's House of Cards. You don't know your team until you open the pack of cards. There's curiosity, competition, and collecting prizes. Visit Divoli's House of Cards off 210 in St. Johns County, or just visit fantasycardbreaks.com. Fantasy football like you've never played it before with Divoli's House of Cards. FantasyCardBreaks.com. We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out, plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season.
The pandemic is over, but COVID-19 is here to stay. In fact, it's still among the top 5 leading causes of death in the U.S., just after heart disease and cancer. So this fall, stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, just like you do with the flu, because you've got no time for 19. The vaccine may not be for everyone. Please consult with your doctor. Brought to you by Moderna.
It's time for the fall haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the fall haul at Northern Tool. Back up the truck for the season's biggest event and save on generators, power tools, trailers, and more. Shop in-store or at northerntool.com.
We're made for this.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com, 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer, Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts, Aaron Schachter. It's a Tuesday. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Hear from Shad Khan coming up in the 5 o'clock hour on the football side of things. I talked to Shad Khan and Mark Lamping on Saturday while I was in London. And so a bunch of different topics, right? London's a topic. Football with Trevor's contract and just the team, the direction, everything else. And also the stadium. And so basically like 3 different kind of things. We played a lot on the TV side of things over the weekend, especially on the London stuff as that was happening. And I think we've talked about it too. And I don't know what you guys' feelings are, but I mean, London is going to happen. And it's going to happen, I think, for a long time. I think my conversation with Mayor Donna Deegan last week, I thought that might be the hiccup potentially in terms of, hey, could that be a negotiation piece in the stadium stuff?
Apparently not.
Certainly didn't indicate that. In fact, the business side of things, I think right now the city sees as a win as much as the Jags see as a win. And they now operate that game at Wembley Stadium. So, like, they bring the people over. I think we talked about this a little bit. And that's a home game, like in its truest sense, where they are operating and keeping the dollars and everything else.
The team is.
The team.
But the city doesn't see any of that.
No, not the city, but the team. So that's like their game. Now, the away game in Buffalo was not. That was an NFL game.
Right.
The difference is it used to be an NFL game for the longest time. Now, the Jags got like territorial rights to be able to sell. They had a sales team over there, and they could sell stuff. That's how that whole relationship started, and now it's advanced to – there are a lot of other semantics probably in there and nuances that maybe I'm not even aware of, but it just helped their footprint over there, and they also had to keep developing that footprint because other people wanted to get into that space, and they've done the best they can to stiff-arm other teams from kind of getting what they have. Which kind of showcases that it works to some degree.
Yeah,
right?
there's a thing of value there that they want to keep. So let me ask you this. As long as they're playing an away game against a team who's already supposed to be in London, do you foresee that being 2 games a season?
I do, and I think that's the tricky part, though. Like, they got the Titans and the Bills on the schedule this year as away games. Of course, the Titans would be every year. But they were playing games in London.
Yeah.
So the Jags were able to make this happen. What happens next year if the teams that are playing in London, the Jags aren't playing?
Well, you get one in London and one in Germany then.
I don't think that's it. I think they would get one in London.
Because that's my other question is when they leave London, and they have a few times in the past and plan to more in the future, they want to do these games in Germany and South America and all these places. Would you foresee the Jags having to go America to London, London to Mexico, Mexico to Jacksonville or something like that?
I don't.
You don't think that's a thing?
I don't. I don't at all. I think if the Jags are going to agree to this, it's going to be in London because they have the footprint there. They have people there.
It's where the money-making operation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the branding. Again, like the one thing is, sure, dollars are certainly involved in this. At one time, Mark Lamping, when they used to do the state of the franchise, said it was like 15% of local revenue. Now, that was back then. They've come up with other revenue opportunities like Daly's Plays and concerts and things like that. So I don't know if the percentage is still as high. Haven't done a state of the franchise like that and shared those numbers in a while.
Pretty high percentage.
But, yeah, that's how much that game was worth. And by the way, the Jags spent a bunch of money over there to make the operation of that game happen, which means you probably pull in quite a bit of money. 85,000 seats at 200 pounds a ticket, something like that. Like, you do the math, right? So there's definitely that. But they are not they're not going to another country and doing that. What was interesting to me is Trevor Lawrence, if you listen to him, and also Doug Peterson yesterday on his Monday news conference with reporters, he said, like, I think all 31 other teams should experience 10 days over there. So was that his way of saying, listen, we understand the dynamic, but I'm not sure we want to be the only team doing this all the time. Let somebody else try it and figure it out. Or are they going to embrace it and be okay with doing it? I think that part is still hard to know how the football team feels about it. What makes it better is that they had 2 wins, and they had a very good experience, and they embraced the experience. But when they do this, like, sit-down evaluation this week and next week and say, okay, how did all this go? And they're going to check boxes. When it's Trent Baalke's turn and Trevor Lawrence's turn and player survey turn and Doug Peterson turn, what does that look like? I don't know. I think that's hard to know.
Yeah. I'm just surprised there isn't as much commercialism around it yet. You know, when you and I were kids, sitcoms growing up, every season there'd be an episode where the family goes to Disney and it's the Disney episode, or this episode, but there's commercialism in there. There's a little handshake deal there. I can't imagine the Jags or the NFL in general is going to continue with this Europe, South America, Asia maybe at some point, and not fold in some businesses to really take advantage of that money that's being thrown around like that.
Yeah, and I probably already have to some degree. We'll see. We'll see on that front. Here's the thing so people are now going to say, let's just say it does happen again next year. So Jags go for 2 weeks, or 2 games, which is really like 10 days, not really 2 weeks. And they play, we'll go with the Houston Texans this time. And the second game is an away game. What I do think is going to happen, because the Bills were complaining so much about it, or even like a guy like Travis Etienne who said, yeah, I think we kind of had an advantage. We've been over there a little bit. I think that team that plays them next is going earlier.
And they should. Why wouldn't you?
And they could have already. Yeah. That was my big beef. Well, not my big beef, but the big thing about what happened with the Bills complaining is, hey, that's fine. But that's a decision that the front office makes, the team makes. Like, you could go on Sunday night. You could go on Monday. You could go on Tuesday. You can go on Friday morning, whatever it is. You chose Friday morning. If that didn't work out, you chose wrong. You made a bad decision.
But I get the con of wanting to not spend as much money so you don't have to move the whole operation there for a week. But
it's not money.
Then what?
Because the money doesn't matter in the NFL.
Well, then why wait until a couple of days before just to not change as much of the week as possible?
Because most teams have figured out. Again, the Jags did this. Like, we did this with the Jags. In the first year, we went on Monday. Went for the whole week. Year 2, I think it was, we flew from Cincinnati, an away game from Cincinnati, to London. So we were gone like that whole time. It was a road trip, but it was in Cincinnati, then there. And then we tried, I think it was the third year, would have been trying the Thursday night into Friday morning. And essentially what they figured out is, like, you're never going to get the body fully adjusted anyway. So just play this as almost like a West Coast trip on steroids, if you will. You know? And obviously it's the opposite direction, but like, I think that's the way of thinking. And from a sports science standpoint, you know, they have a ton of that research, and they figured this is probably the best way to do it. And I don't think it has anything to do with finances. I really don't. Now, it could, but I doubt that. The NFL just prints money. So I just don't think this has to do with finances.
Well, just because the NFL prints money doesn't mean every owner likes to spend it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to put their team at a disadvantage.
No, I
one
agree with
thing
that.
Owners want to do for the most part across the National Football League is put their team in the best situation possible. And they do want – it seems like most owners now do care about the player experience, not just in London, but every day in their facilities, everything else, like what you're feeding them, how you're treating them.
Well, especially when the NFLPA is doing surveys and then telling secrets on it.
Yeah. Well, you
don't want to be embarrassed like Steve over in Baltimore.
Yeah, now they have to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting thing. What I was getting to is tonight we'll have my conversation with Shad and Mark Lamping on CBS 47 and Fox 30 at 6 o'clock. And a lot of that does have to do around the stadium, but some of that has to do with league approval around the stadium. Like I asked about, hey, what if you do get the deal done? Because everybody thinks this is tracking toward getting done in the next 6 months. And if that does happen, then they would take that to the NFL owners meetings in May. So, guys, we're talking like 7 months. This thing could be a done deal.
Yeah. And the owners league meeting in May seems like just a formality at that point. Are they going to turn the deal back?
They're not, because the Jags will present it by that time. I think everything will be good.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to think it's that easy. I don't believe it's that easy. I think 24 out of 32 have to do it. The more and more I've had conversations in the last couple of months, I still think there's this belief, this perception about Jacksonville. It's like, well, could we do better, right? There are some owners that probably are still like, where else could they go? Like, why Jacksonville? Like, I bet that still exists. At least it sounds like some of that could still exist. The other part of this is the amount of work Shad's done probably behind the scenes in the last decade as an owner. They're on committees with other owners and things like that.
Yeah.
And I guess this thing kind of passes through some of those committees first and then gets to that 24. So, yes, I do think the work will be done. How it's presented is important, right? The dynamics of that versus Tennessee and Buffalo, which have most recently done, because even Mark Lamping said this to us, I think he said it to us, how this deal gets done will then impact how other teams do the next deal in their stadiums. Like this will be the new benchmark because it'll be the latest and greatest deal.
Sure.
So,
or the last one to get approved, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's not going to be a problem, but I think that element of it, of just being like, oh, yeah, done deal, I think it's deeper than that, especially when you've had 3 franchises move in the last decade, when Jacksonville was the rumored team for so long, when Jacksonville was the underdog team 30 years ago when they got the franchise. I don't know if that's completely lost on, or every owner has flipped on all that stuff. But I do think it also showcases probably some of the work Shad's put in and the trust they have in him. That if he believes in Jacksonville to this point where he's putting this money in, wants to grow downtown, all this other stuff, then I think they're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, he's put financial roots in the dirt. Yeah.
So it's just an interesting element to me that I think people are just like, oh, yeah, no problem. And I also give Shad credit for that because that's where I talk about stabilization. But people don't talk about Jacksonville moving. Now, you could talk about Jacksonville moving if it doesn't get done, but they haven't really talked about Jacksonville moving for quite some time.
No, there have been other franchises ahead of them in that rumor mill for over a decade now.
You know, I was talking to John Bachman about this. He brings up an interesting point. Like, where is the NFL going next anyway?
St. Louis.
Back to St. Louis for like a third time?
Oh, there is like a huge chorus of voices asking for it.
San Antonio.
That's another one, sure.
Right? I think Toronto.
Because the Bills almost went there.
I know, but Toronto's such a big city, and like I know they do like the NFL. Could they get their own team in Toronto someday? And then there's the curiosity from the Germanys to the Londons and everything else. Will there be a division someday over there, or a whole nother league in some respects, where then you play a Super Bowl that really includes the world instead of the United States? Like I mean, that might be 30 years down the road. I don't know.
Dell had a great idea in the chat a couple of days ago. He was like, why not make every team play an international game? 8 home, 8 away, 1 international, 17. Outside of the algorithm and math magicians, you need to figure out the schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they will.
Like instead of just selecting a few each year.
Because it was this year, right? Wasn't it this offseason that they all kind of got their own delegated countries to be their their selected fan bases?
Like adopted fan bases.
Yeah, didn't like the Jags have like Ireland, I think was one.
I think it was something like that, yeah.
So it's just interesting how they're – but we say this a lot on our show. We talk about it when this topic comes up. This is the only sports league that isn't global until like the last 15 years.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we call it football.
Well, I think it's a lot has to do with the fact that nobody else plays it anywhere else.
Well, like if there was this really successful restaurant chain in Germany called McDonald's, they'd have a hard time breaking into America.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how much that factors.
Glenn says San Diego, another one of these cities. I don't know that they want to go back to San Diego.
Yeah, I think there would be options to go to places in faster growing cities and other things like that.
And by the way, players hate playing in California because of the jock tax. Yeah.
Well, as Tyler Shatley put it, too, he doesn't like playing the 2 games in London because of the tax either.
Fair enough.
So that is one thing about London. Tax is pretty hefty. So anyway, tonight, 6 o'clock, we'll have more with Shad Khan and Mark Lamping. I will give you a little note here, though, that he did tell us there's an option on the table for, you know how the 2-year, 4-year option with construction?
Oh, okay.
2 years, where else when you go? Like Gainesville, Orlando, Daytona, where you're going to play the games. 4 years, you stay here, but it's a modified crowd, and it's going to take 4 years to build. Or do you want to just get it done with and move out of here for a couple of years? Well, there's another option the Jags are working on, and that's a 1-year option. And it's not confirmed, not done, not fully presentable. But Mark Lamping talks a little bit about that tonight in our interview, that this other option could be on the table.
Team leaves
where the Jags would just depart Jacksonville and be displaced for 1 year instead of 2.
I mean, anyone who's done renovations on a home knows whatever the first estimate is, it's going to take a little bit
when
longer.
you're spending billions of dollars now, you can get it done as quick as you want, maybe.
Okay, but when the budget blows up by double, maybe you go, all right, I think we're getting a little crazy.
The thing about it is they would have to get it probably approved sooner than later.
It'd be way more expensive.
Then they would start the expansion, the construction, kind of like the underground stuff or whatever you could do early. And then they would probably have a modified capacity for a year, but still play. And then they would be displaced for 1 year. So it's an interesting possibility. Again, more tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30 at 6 o'clock. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by Arlington Toyota with over 800 new and used vehicles available. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2 and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Tune into our high-energy, multi-platform show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690 in a variety of video streaming platforms as well. As the seasons change, so do the sports topics. It's football season now, and we're bringing you all things sports weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. And you can tailgate with us at the Duval House for every Sunday home game this football season. Fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks.
Get into the game at Best Bet. Come enjoy the best in-card games, hospitality, and fun at Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park. You don't have to be a poker pro to have a great time. Featuring poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Pai Gow. Wager on exciting simulcast races and enjoy delicious food and drink. Our card rooms are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Many of us enjoy being DIYers. Do you really need a financial advisor for retirement? Or can you just do that yourself too?
I wondered about that.
Well, it depends. Have the Talon Wealth team create a comprehensive financial plan personalized for you at no cost. Then you can compare what you're doing to what's possible with a team of fiduciaries on your side.
Okay.
Schedule now at guardingyournestegg.com.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC registered investment advisor. Florida license D056341.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
I'm finishing my snack. Almost needed you to bring the show back.
In that case, welcome back to Brent Friends, ESPN 690. I'm Aaron Schachter. Kasey Kuhrts behind the glass. And Brent just told Kasey he's going to give him $500. Congratulations, Case. Brent can't say anything about it. He's got
I just
full
puked.
mouth. Oh, never mind. He's back. Guys, I saw these Wild X thread the other day. What was the crazy? It feels weird, doesn't it? It's so clunky.
It's more than clunky.
It's
Sounds
like
dirty.
It's like trying to throw a pick off and tripping over your own foot. It sucks. Elon, what did you do?
It's like Bryce Harper getting back and doubled up. To end the game.
I saw this thread the other day. What's the craziest NFL stat you've ever heard? And then the thread that ensued had like my eyes bugging out of my head at some of these things. I thought they were pretty wild. I want to bring them to the table. Some of these you've heard before. You know them, like earlier this season, I think the Tom Brady one went around. Tom Brady never played a single snap for a team that was mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
It is nuts.
Wild because he played 185 years in the
Jerk.
NFL. But did you know, Brent, Phillip Rivers has more kids than Pro Bowls, and he's been to a bunch of Pro Bowls. I thought that was pretty crazy. Brett Favre's first NFL completion was to himself.
The first one.
Larry
I feel
Fitzgerald.
like he did that a lot.
Maybe. Just throwing off people's helmets right and left. Larry Fitzgerald had more tackles in his career, 41, than dropped passes. 28, 17 years. 28 dropped passes.
That's
not a
nuts.
lot. Your guy,
Jags
Dan
did
Marino.
that in like first 5 weeks of the season.
First 3 games. Your guy, Dan Marino, on here. 19 straight games without a sack. I feel like that's a stat that at some point in his career, Trevor may approach, just because of how quick he gets rid of the ball.
Yeah.
What about Jerry Rice in 1987? 12 games, 22 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown.
That is not, but today's day and age, what's Justin Jefferson done?
I mean, he came close to 20, but he didn't
12 games,
he didn't touch it. 12 games. That's insanity.
That is nuts.
Jim Harbaugh, more career regular season rushing yards than Bo Jackson.
That's a great one. That is really good.
Bo Jackson. The Harbaughs actually have me thinking about the greatest brother combos in sport. The Harbaughs obviously coaching combos, but there are a lot of great siblings in sports. How about this Jaguars one that caught my eye? 2012, the Jaguars led the Titans 14-7. The Jags defense got a stop. The Titans offense came off the field. And the next time that offense got back on the field, the Titans were leading 35-14.
Wow, that's like a riddle. Let's try that again. Jags defense up
14-7.
They get a stop.
They get a stop. Offense gets on the field.
Okay, so they score. They go up 21-7. They must have.
No. It was 14-7. The Jaguars lead.
Yeah.
They stop the Titans.
Yep.
Offense comes back on the field. The Jags don't score. The next time the Titans offense comes on the field, they're leading 35-14.
Oh, the Titans.
They scored 4 times on defense, Brent.
Yeah.
Or special teams.
Or special teams.
Yeah. That's
wild. I read that wrong. I read it like the Jags were up.
But you're right. It reads like a riddle.
Yeah.
And then I think
I wasn't very good at riddles. Those damn math problems on the SATs. Man, oh, man. Always trick me.
I would love to compare our SAT
is nuts.
scores with each other.
I don't remember that game.
2012.
Would have been Gabbert?
Probably. Who was the quarterback in 12? It was Gabbert.
I mean, he was 11 and 12, you would think. So I don't remember that game. I could go back and look at that, but I don't remember it. That's nuts.
2-14 Jaguars.
Gosh, we had some miserable times. Enjoy the wins, people. Stop complaining about a fumble or not sexy enough of a W or not scoring enough points. Enjoy the wins. This happened 10 years ago.
That game finished. Oh, the Jaguars lost that game 20-38. Oh, Casey, you're not even going to laugh at that, huh?
Who's your favorite broadcaster, Maria Taylor?
That's funny. This last one I think is wild. I wish I would have put it up on the stream, but it's comparing Joe Theismann and Alex Smith's career-devastating injuries. Right? The injury for Theismann, the broken right tibia and fibula. The injury for Smith, broken right tibia and fibula. The date, November 18th, 85 for Theismann. The date, November 18th, 2018 for Smith. Same day.
I do remember that.
Same team, both on the Redskins.
Crazy.
Location, Washington, D.C. for both.
Yeah.
The yard line, the 39-yard line for both plays. The final score in both games, 23-21.
Nuts.
It was caused to Theismann by 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Lawrence Taylor, to Alex Smith, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year J.J. Watt. And then finally, at left tackle for these guys, Pro Bowl Joe Jacoby. He was off the field for Theismann due to an injury. Pro Bowler Trent Williams off the field for Alex Smith due to an injury. That's a wild set of coincidences.
Crazy. All these stats. You know what I can't believe is not on here unless I missed it? The whole Baltimore Ravens winning streak in the preseason stat.
Oh,
to me, that's like the wildest stat that exists.
Just because no one ever game plans for preseason.
24 games?
Yeah.
And it got snapped this year.
It did.
Right at the end. They were leading, and then they got beat right at the end in the final minute.
That's right.
Nuts.
Pretty wild.
I love stats. Numbers are good.
They're fun.
Some people hate the numbers. I love them.
I got another Jag-centric one for you. Point differential from 2020 to now. Please. The Bills in first place with plus 573. Second place is the Chiefs at only 395.
Really?
The Bills dominating in point differential. And you got smoked by Jacksonville.
Well, by 5.
Whatever. Smoked. Murdered by 5. Blown out by 5.
Football 5 coming up. We ask Shad Khan about Trevor Lawrence's upcoming contract when we come back on ESPN 690.
Let me help you get a little something for free with the air conditioning team I use. It's Bold City Heating and Air. Tell them Brent sent you and you get a free duct cleaning with the purchase of a new unit. BoldCityAC.com. Here's why I've partnered up with Bold City Heating and Air. It's a Jacksonville-grown and family-owned and operated business. Most AC places locally have been sold to corporations, not Bold City Heating and Air. And they take care of you the old-fashioned way. Awesome communication, awesome customer service, and they have an awesome new look. BoldCityAC.com for a tune-up on that overworked AC unit. BoldCityAC.com.
This is Ortho Health Insights, tips for life in motion, brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. You are never too old or or too young to begin improving your orthopedic health. Hundreds of thousands of knee replacements and hip replacements are performed each year in the United States, and those numbers are on the rise. But some of these surgeries are preventable. Exercise and health lifestyles have a direct effect on muscle strength, joint flexibility, and bone density. Maintaining a healthy body weight can lessen the effects of osteoarthritis and prevent injuries. Hip pain is a common problem and can cause discomfort and difficulty in walking, sitting, and daily life like working and playing sports. If you are experiencing hip pain, the hip orthopedic physicians at JOI are experienced in diagnosing the cause and treatment of your hip pain. Whether you need a course of physical therapy or surgery, JOI can help. Call 904-JOI-2000. That's 904-JOI-2000. Or learn more at JOI.net. JOI is the official sports medicine provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Car Bravo is here at Nimnick Buick GMC, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnick Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Hey, it's a win-win for everyone. You always win at Nimnick Buick GMC. I've always won 6 different cars purchased for our family. Terrific selection of used cars under $20,000 at Nimnick. Experience Used-Phoria with Car Bravo online at NimnickBuickGMC.com or visit the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers. They take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out, plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
I'm Christine Lisi. American League Divisional Series Game 3 from Minneapolis. A Jose Abreu 3-run home run off Sonny Gray, part of a 4-run first for the Astros. Houston still up 4-0 on the Twins, bottom third. Falcons acquired receiver Van Jefferson from the Rams. He struggled to find a substantial role with LA this season. Vikings superstar receiver Justin Jefferson will land on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. Will miss at least 4 games. NHL opening night tripleheader on ESPN includes the top overall pick in the draft, Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks, visiting Sidney Crosby and the Penguins at 8 Eastern. Bedard will be amazing, believes ESPN NHL analyst PK Subban.
This guy has been nothing short but unbelievable in junior. His junior numbers are outstanding, but what he's done in training camp in the preseason, making defenders miss like he does here, his ability, his balance, his skill level, and his ability to score big goals in big moments. But this guy's got a pro-level shot. I think he's going to have a real opportunity to have an impact early.
Blackhawks Pens 8 Eastern ESPN. Caesar Sportsbook listing the Hurricanes as the favorite to win the Stanley Cup this season at 15-2 odds.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you which teams need to make a quarterback change if they want to save their season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, your chance to win $1,000 as ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. Sponsored by Arlington Toyota with over 800 new and used vehicles available.
Enter the word BUCKS at ESPN690.com. That's BUCKS. 5:15 past the hour.
Your next chance to win $1,000 and have ESPN 690 pay your bills happens tomorrow morning at 8. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Football at 5, we go. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kuhrts. Overtime with Kuhrts in Middleton coming up at 6 o'clock, by the way. We have baseball tonight, Kasey? Or do we have Inside Seminoles football tonight? Yes, we do. We're not talking enough about the Seminoles. We'll do that a little bit later on in the week, though. Knowles have won 11 straight games, I think. I believe it's like one of the top 5 winning streaks in college football.
They got something special going on there.
Dogs keep winning now. Dogs look pretty good over Kentucky today. Carson Beck playing really well. So, I just saw a tweet, actually, from Georgia, or maybe it was the AP poll. They have 17 straight weeks now at number 1.
Can I ask you something? Because I heard you say a couple of weeks ago there's no one really good in college football this year, dominant in the way that they've been in years past. You almost sounded like it was a negative when you said it. And I'm kind of curious if you think it's a positive or a negative. Follow-up question, do you think transfer portal /NIL/collective has anything to do with the parity?
I don't mind the parity at all, by the way. I think we need more of it. I'd like to see that roster go deeper and deeper. It'd be great if there were 30 teams in college football that could actually win the whole thing.
That's a lot,
I just don't think you feel that way. You usually feel like 6, 7, 8 have a legitimate chance, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, but I don't mind that there's no dominant team. I think Georgia finally looked dominant against Kentucky, but it's really the first time they have. They haven't looked unbelievable, but they could be building with Carson Beck. Do I think? Yeah, I think there's a very good chance because of the portal. Not the NIL, but the portal is really the difference maker.
It allows you to
here.
reshape the roster, yeah.
All you got to do is look at Colorado, right? I mean, they reshaped it. Now, not to say they're going to be a national championship contender, but they reshaped it from a one-win team to now one of the talkers of college football.
And
they're 4-2.
They used the portal in the extreme. I think they turned over something like 60-something players on that roster, but it was only a couple of years ago. USC, I think, pulled like 30 new players off the portal as well. Like there are teams out there just reshaping their entire teams.
Well, and closer to home, we just talked about Florida State, Kasey. Florida State has been awesome in the portal. I mean, it's the reason they have turned their program around in Tallahassee is because of, you got to give Norvell credit, and you got to give Jordan Travis credit, but the portal is the reason.
Shout out to the Gators, bro. It feels like they haven't got a transfer yet.
They have. But
I thought they ended up doing well at the back half of the portal season.
Well, they're more on the recruiting end, I think, in the summer.
Okay.
They got Graham Mertz, though. Shout out.
But
Mertz is an awful
Here's another one of yours for you in terms of the portal, Bo Nix from Auburn to Oregon.
Right.
And that's a big one this week.
That was wild. I just want you guys to know I got Bo Nix's autograph when I was in college. I've been out 4 years. And he was in college.
Yeah.
We were in college at the same time.
Bo Nix making college quarterback a full-time job for his life right now.
There's been several. That's embedded included.
Bo Nix has been in college football forever.
Wow.
Like, this guy, shout out to him.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? I thought Bo Nix was a bust, and he goes to Oregon. He's playing really well.
He's playing really, but he also doesn't have to play the SEC
When
anymore.
you get 8 years to figure it out, like at some point you're going to figure out how to dice up like you're playing against kids at this point. You're like a grown man against children.
I don't know why that's a problem. I mean, we all work at our jobs for a long time and finally figure it out, hopefully.
I'm not mad at him. I sold all my helmets. I'm thrilled. But, I mean, I'm just saying. It's wild.
And the secret is Washington and Michael Penix Jr. I mean, again, they're playing each other this week. That's an entertaining game. I don't know if anybody will watch because it'll be at like 1 a.m. But
yeah, man.
It should be a good game.
Sure.
Also, Michael Penix's been in college a very long time.
He too.
Played at Indiana.
Right?
You may or may not know.
Yes, I do. And then got hurt and a bunch of other stuff.
But, there's something to be said. All these quarterbacks stayed in college so long, and now we've got this really deep quarterback class for next year.
Yeah, I think it helps the product to a degree, right? I mean, there's a lot of good stories. Everybody thought it was just a Caleb Williams and Drake May show this year. It's not.
No, there could be like 6
really
first-round quarterbacks.
Yeah, and bigger than that, there's a bunch of good quarterbacks playing good football, right? So, and again, Jordan Travis comes to mind, and now Carson Beck could climb into that conversation if he starts to take off. I mean, was that a sign that he's about to start take off after not really playing a bunch of football for Georgia? And he's obviously in a very good position. So it's fascinating. It's kind of cool, actually, I think, and I'm okay with it. Again, I like parity. Georgia's dominating. I don't like Georgia. I know there are a lot of Gator fans. Obviously, they hate this idea of it, and anybody else in the SEC probably hates the fact that they're dominating. That's not me. They have been dominant, but I don't think I would just write them in as the national championship winner. No way.
Yeah.
No way. Would not be surprised if they trip up or if somebody else wins. I would not be surprised if Washington wins it. If they get by Oregon,
I'd be shocked.
Wins what?
The college football championship.
You would not be shocked if Washington won the national championship?
I'd even be shocked if USC won.
You got to play. He's playing that good of football. He's a good coach. I love him.
I would be stunned and floored.
Why?
I don't care how good, because Washington winning the national championship doesn't roll off the tongue.
How many teams,
I get that.
How many teams do you think are capable of winning winning the whole thing this year?
I'm taking
5,
USC
6?
out now because they can't play any defense at all. There's none to be found.
Well, you're putting Georgia in there. You're probably putting Michigan in there, right?
I'm putting Georgia in there.
Florida State? So just Georgia.
I don't know, man. All of those teams could easily lose.
Texas?
Nobody's playing defense. No, Texas is out.
Well, they're out now, yeah.
I don't know. I
What
think
about
it's
Michigan, Ohio State. You
I
got
just
them in
said
there?
Michigan. He
Penn
said no.
State.
Ohio State are the biggest frauds of all time.
Yeah, I'm not buying Ohio State.
One of these times, I'm going to get that right. Tried it twice now. One of these times, it's going to hit.
I'm not buying Ohio State. I do like Penn State. I don't
Penn
think
State's
they're
dangerous, man.
I don't think they're a championship team, though.
No, I'm out on Penn State.
I do think they look great this year.
I don't understand why everybody loves Penn State so much.
Because they're finally playing great ball.
The quarterback's fine, but they're fine. They're
Penn
fine.
State was one of these schools that was in the conversation for the national championship every year 20, 30 years ago, and then just disappeared for a decade.
They're just good enough to lose to Georgia by 30 if they play in a playoff.
All right,
so they're TCU level.
But let's stop the car for a second here and just think about what we're talking about right now. And again, who's the odds-on favorite, other things, that's fine. But as we sit here in approaching middle of October, we mentioned 3 teams in the Pac-12. A lot of times at this time of year, we're mentioning, does any team even have a chance to get in the Pac-12? We're mentioning 3 teams in the Big Ten. And sometimes you'll have it's either Ohio State or Michigan, right, or something like that, and maybe there's a sneaky team coming in. But, I do think Penn State's a legitimate threat there. And could they do it? Sure. It's not that far-fetched. And then, obviously, you have the SEC, and right now it appears Georgia. There's nobody else on this side of it. What comes out in the West? And now LSU's lost a couple of times. Alabama just doesn't feel like they're good enough.
Alabama ain't beating
just
Georgia.
not
They're not
happening,
high-powered
right?
enough.
Shout out Carson Beck. He is dealing.
I'm not counting Texas out just because they lost, by the way. I think that's a good roster that can go on a run.
Yeah, it was a bad loss, though.
Sure.
I don't know.
And here's the thing. The Alabama win doesn't carry a ton of weight anymore. It does because it's Alabama, but everybody's seen what Alabama is. They are not like the Alabama of the last decade. They're down. And so that win took a little steam off.
Well, the problem with Texas, I agree with you on Alabama. The problem with Texas is now they got to go undefeated and then win again.
Right.
And then hope they get the benefit of the doubt. So, Texas ain't in.
But if you look at the one-loss teams, there aren't many yet. You're talking about Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, and Oregon State, just those teams. Texas is the team out of those teams. Better than Oregon State. Don't tell me Oregon State.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm saying, I know they beat Alabama, but again, I don't think they're going to be a one-loss team.
Okay.
Because they got to beat Oklahoma again now. Or they got to beat them for the first time now when they get in that championship game.
I didn't know we'd go this long on college football, but since we're on it, you asked the question of how's the portal changed things, right? Well, Georgia's been good now the last few years, and they recruited the hell out of it, and they got there, and now they won, and they broke through, and they've been dominant, and they keep recruiting. So I'm not sure the portal is that much of a difference maker for Georgia. Michigan obviously is good. Ohio State we talk about, and they have been really for the last few years. That's been a battle, kind of whoever wins it, who goes. Could both teams get in? Like there's been that conversation. Well, Florida State, the portal has certainly changed Florida State. We just acknowledge that. But the fact that you do have, I think, the Washingtons and the Oregons in the mix, that's where probably that comes into play. And I don't know their roster blow by blow, but the fact that we have 3 teams from the Pac-12 to go back to what I said that could have a chance instead of just wondering if the Pac-12 is even going to get in. Like, I think that does speak to, like, we've actually flipped the cycle from a conference standpoint. It's always the SEC, but it's the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's been there. But now it's like the Pac-12. Like the ACC, Clemson's nowhere to be found. It's really just Florida State. You know, North Carolina's okay.
I mean, the SEC,
we'll
one's anywhere to be found. Outside of Georgia, you're not seeing SEC in the top 10.
No, and that's the other part. It's down year for the SEC. I mean, it really is a down year to find somebody else. LSU has not lived up to, what they could have been or should have been. The ACC actually has some decent strength because Duke's played up pretty well, and
Duke's good.
And North Carolina is undefeated.
Yeah,
so.
You wouldn't be, so I'm not even going to ask. North Carolina plays one game outside of the state of North Carolina.
That is pretty crazy.
They play Georgia Tech.
Because their conference has
They
all
play
these
like
teams
Duke, and they play like App State.
In the triangle, yeah.
Yeah, they just never go anywhere.
If we were talking about Miami's inability to kneel on the football, we'd be talking about them undefeated and probably at number 14 in the country. And Louisville beat Notre Dame. So the ACC actually is playing a bit. Now, is that a power thing? Probably not. Florida State's their only team that feels like national championship good, but the strength of their conference is certainly better than it's been.
You got to wonder.
So that's got to be doing with the portal.
You got to wonder if the success of the ACC this season will help keep Florida State through next season. Because they punted on the decision this year, but it's still up for grabs for next year as well.
Bro, why did homeboy run the ball?
I don't know. That's crazy. That's
got to
be
doing
one of
is what he said. What are we doing?
What happened? What were you trying to accomplish? I'm not a Miami fan. That was awesome.
And the head coach was taking the accountability for that.
He better. What are you doing? Moron, kneel.
He does that all the time?
Why?
The story is he does it all the time.
So he's an idiot.
It happened to him before. It happened at Oregon. He lost to Stanford, I think it was.
Okay, so stop doing it after the first time.
Really? I mean, just fireable type
I
of
would
action.
agree. I would agree.
And what I say about these guys all the time is, these guys are making $7, $8, $9, $10 million, whatever Cristobal's making, and you just can't make those kind of mistakes when you're making that kind of money.
And he has zero equity buildup because they're mid.
But you just can't make those kind of if
they are better than they've been in a long time.
If you're a CEO of a company and you're making whatever money you're making, and you make a mistake like that, as elementary of a mistake as that, and it costs you, in this case, a game, but in a business sense, it would be millions of dollars.
In a sport where you can't really lose one time.
Yeah, you're not. I don't believe you have the job the next day or week or whatever. That shows you're good at recruiting. They actually had Miami playing pretty well. And you're the one that derailed the season. That is, I'm not suggesting you get fired for it.
Well,
but it really you start to wonder. See, what happens when you hire coaches and you bring this guy, you wonder, first of all, can they turn it around? Okay, that's one thing. Then, can they be competitive for championships in your conference and those kind of things? Can they get into the Final Four? Because this is what happened with Georgia. He turned it around, Kirby did. Then he started to get in, but then they didn't win. And then you're okay, but can he win the big one, right? Can he win the big one? Well, Kirby's done it. He was able to check the box. Mark Richt in Georgia, they weren't able to do that. They were very good, but he couldn't do it. Jimbo finally checked the box at Florida State before he started going downhill. We'll ask that about Mike Norvell soon enough. Can you get in the Final Four? Can you get in a couple times? Can you win the big one? What I wonder if about a guy like that makes decisions like that multiple times is how the hell would I ever trust him to get to that level? Now, maybe you don't need him to get to that level and you can still have success. But I can tell you right now, Mario Cristobal, maybe it's because it's Miami, but I see a guy that does that a couple times. That dude ain't ever winning big. He ain't ever winning that big.
Bro, I didn't know he did it a first time. That's so bad. Bro, you have no business.
Yeah, it is really
would you
bad.
lie on the resume, my boy? How did you get this job?
It's really
are
bad.
you kidding? Just kneel. Just fall down.
And, of course, it only bites you and becomes a thing if it becomes a thing, like your guy fumbles. But it's happened to him twice.
Right.
So why even – it really doesn't make sense. We teach our kids and people teach younger people, don't make the same mistake twice. And this dude did it.
Stu's like, I'm going to do it again.
Like, he did it.
It's like, we can get some extra yards here, boys.
Cristobal preaches consistency is what he does.
Oh, my goodness. What a mess.
I
I'd bench the coach.
I wonder what it's like down in Miami this
Could you
week,
imagine?
Right?
I would,
the AD announces that you've benched the coach.
If I was
for
the AD,
game?
I'd be like, Mario Cristobal's not coaching this week.
Well,
He's been benched for the garbage.
In reality, you do lose a little credibility in the locker room.
With the players, yeah.
When you're like, yeah, hey, I told you not to throw another interception. Well, yeah, I thought we determined we were going to take a knee if we were in the victory formation. It's like a pretty damn good play.
Yeah,
like,
and
hasn't everybody said that?
You made the kid that fumbled, like...
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah, he's a scapegoat.
Well, like, that's just... You put that kid in an awful position. Clearly, he didn't try to fumble, but, like, you, like, ruined his week, month, maybe life.
Year.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Like, you never know how that's going to, like, react. So, like, all because you were trying to, what? Add 3 yards per your average every time you run the football? Come on, bro. Kneel on it. What a mess, guy.
Let's flip around to interview with Shad Khan. I'm going to ask you this because I asked Shad this. So I want to ask you guys this. Is Trevor Lawrence, when they got him number 1 overall, is he as good as you thought he'd be? Is he better? Is he like, oh, we still got to get to this level to be where I thought he'd be? Where are you guys at 2 years and 5 games into his career?
Little caveat on this question. He's 3 years into his career, but I consider him 2 years into his career. I don't consider that first year his first year.
And a lot of people wouldn't, and that's okay. I don't care what kind of context you want to put in.
Disaster with the coaches and all that. So if that's how you look at it, 2 years into his career, I think he's well ahead of where a lot of guys 2 years into their career these days are ending up. In the era of not sitting a quarterback you draft for a couple of games or a season, I think he's way ahead of where those guys normally are. That being said, 3 years into his career, it's where you would hope he would be. Leading the franchise to first place in the division, looking at the playoffs, trying to get back.
Kasey?
Bro, he won a playoff game for the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 years into his career. Like, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's an interesting part of it, Kasey. Like, I think he is now becoming some of these consistent plays. Somebody did a Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence in the last 16 games or something like that.
16 games.
I think that was Nick Wright.
It was it. So, it was on that same show with Mangini?
I thought.
So, I think you might be right. So, it's very similar. So the numbers are very similar over the last 17 games. So I think what we're seeing is consistent play.
It's not just similar. He's better than Josh Allen. He's got 1 less touchdown, 5 or 6 less interceptions, a higher quarterback rating, a better record.
That doesn't tell the whole story because Russell Wilson's numbers are better than Patrick Mahomes this year so far.
Really?
So, yes.
He's playing better than him.
But
that is the whole story.
Broncos country.
The thing about it for Trevor, as I said this yesterday on the show, I don't think right now he's getting enough credit for not a lot of plays being in danger with his throws, right? Not a lot of picks, not a lot of big mistakes. Now, he did fumble, so that's a different story. But the playoff win is very interesting that you bring up because the one thing we thought we were getting, even with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, when Trevor got here, is, okay, listen, we get the whole Urban deal, but you got one of the best winners of all time coaching football games, and you got one of the best winners of all time playing the sport of football at quarterback in high school and college in Trevor. And it's like, these guys are going to win.
Psych.
I will still say this. I'm not stunned about the off the field, the other stuff, the toxic nature. Like that stuff, while stunning, was not the most stunning thing that happened during the Urban Meyer era. The fact that he won just 2 games was stunning because I thought it was in his DNA to win. Well, guess what? He tried to steal that DNA from Trevor for a year, and now Trevor found the DNA back because Trevor knows how to win. And sure, Doug Peterson, everybody else, they're part of this. But so when you said they've won the division in a playoff game, that's what he's really here to do, is turn Jacksonville into a winner. This guy knows how to win. He wins, and he's doing that. And it's different that, wins and game manages and stuff like that. No, he wins and can then make all the throws and do all the things that he did on Sunday and that he did against the Chargers in the second half and that we're starting to see on a consistent basis, just the dimes and the highlights and everything else.
But it's, again, you got to give credit to the part, like, he didn't win on the Patriots. He went on a good team. He won on the Jags. They won a playoff game for the Jags. The Jags.
Yeah, and listen,
that counts. Double. You get double points for that.
He put the Jags actually in a weird way.
got him a stadium, or he's about to.
Well, he might be doing all that stuff, which we talked about with Trevor, too. That could be on the horizon here in the next year. But I think he also sped the whole process up once it took a step back with Urban. Like, you could see them winning the division in year 2 if Urban worked. Like, if that thing worked, they start to win a few games, they get to 6 or 7 under
maybe
Urban.
you could only see it because of the last season you saw. Like, if you hadn't seen the Jags last season, I wouldn't have expected any team, much less the Jaguars, 2 years into a new regime.
Well, but I just told you, I thought Urban and Trevor would win.
I understand,
right?
but it was also a 1-win team, and last year we were sitting here going 4 to 6 wins is the expectation.
Yeah, but that was coming off the mess.
I mean, that's what you were coming off of with Urban, too. So, like, I'm just saying, had you done that, 6 wins in the first year with Urban, were you going to 10 the following year? I mean, I would think it would need to matter who you picked up.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I do think once it took a step back, he's now fast. Him and Doug and everybody, really, they just skipped a year. And so now, do they become a contender all the time, which we're thinking they could? These last 2 weeks were critical in turning that. Does he become an MVP kind of candidate? Does it look like he's on the rise? Absolutely. And then, of course, the contract that could follow and make him one of the game's elite and all the rest. Anyway, had a chance to sit down with Shad Khan. We talked some football things for a few minutes, amongst others like Stadium and London. We'll get to that part probably tomorrow. But this is just the football side of things, and did ask him about Trevor and this football team as well.
I was at the practice yesterday, talked to a lot of them, and they were, all of them, excited to get done like by 1 o'clock and head to the city. Absolutely, they're enjoying it. A lot of them, obviously, their family members came over and are staying in the city so they can connect with them on the off times. When it all comes down to it, it's all about winning. And no, there's no substitute for that.
Which made this week a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And winning on Sunday will make the plane ride better.
Hey, Trevor, congratulations.
When you drafted him #1 overall a couple years ago, is this what you thought you were getting?
Yeah, I think maybe even better than I thought we were getting. You know, he had a great reputation, and, I met him on Zoom. Obviously, that was COVID the very first time, and then, met him in person, and I think, he's a great football player and probably even a better human being, so.
A lot of big contracts coming up with these quarterbacks. He might be next in line next year. You might have a stadium contract and a quarterback contract in 2024. Where is that? Did those conversations already begin on potentially extending Trevor?
Well, I mean, Trevor is part of our long-term plan for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, that time will be after the season is over. I think, you don't think about those things right now. Right now, our goal is to win, obviously win games, win the division, and get in the playoffs. I mean, that's what we aspire to.
I've been around you a decent amount in the last decade, and I said, I don't know if I've ever seen him so relaxed. Yeah. The smile maybe as big as I did on Sunday. Is there something to that? Is there a different kind of contentment at 73 years old and where you're at than maybe even recently?
Football, I mean, and a lot of things in life, certain things you control. There are other things you don't control. And I think we want to be focused on things you control, and then you want to be able to come up with a good outcome. And certainly I think football and the rest of my life, we are in a good place. But we've always been, to be, honest. I think you have your health, then you manage the rest.
And I wonder if some of that, at least around the football stuff, is that you feel like you've got it with Trent, Doug, and Trevor.
I think so. I think we have the pieces, or we've cracked the code here for winning football. And there are a lot of competitive teams in the league, we know that, but we want to be one of them. I think we are there.
That's Shad Khan. Had a chance to sit down with him on Saturday in London. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about the stadium stuff, probably play a little Mark Lamping and Shad tomorrow. But listen, you were joking during the conversation. Don't give up your leverage. Here's the deal. There's not a lot of leverage to be had. I mean, if Trevor does what he does, it's kind of slotted now for quarterbacks to fit and negotiate the final piece. But
Relatively
Trevor's going to be
speaking.
in that $55 million a year category. He's going to have a say in which way he wants to go with it. Does he want to frame it like Patrick Mahomes? Does he want to frame it like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert? You name it. There are plenty of examples out there. And then you just got to get to the bottom line. But this isn't really a hard discussion. It's a, you got to do it kind of discussion. And what Shad Khan did say is he's part of our plans in the future, which I think we all could obviously know that.
Kasey, Trevor and the boys make the AFC championships this year. Maybe not the Super Bowl, but the AFC championships this year. What's that contract worth?
What did Burrow get? 55?
Yeah.
57.
Yeah, I don't think anything now Super Bowl could change it.
Super Bowl win or appearance?
Either.
Okay.
I think outside of that, I don't. Again, I think this is more slotted. This feels like almost a draft all over again. I don't think there's like these extras on top of it. I mean, does he turn it on crazy and win MVP and then they win the Super Bowl and then you magnify it a bit? I don't know, man. I think that you could do the deal right now is my point. I don't think it's changing that much.
Nah, he might not be next. You got to consider that because you're still got a Tua situation that has to be figured out.
True.
Yeah.
So if Tua continues to play this way, Tua might be in front of Trevor, then that puts you another slot down the line.
So when you're saying that, do you mean Tua could get done first or Trevor would make less than Tua?
That's a good question.
I'm saying Tua could get done first because that one's more pressing.
But also, if Tua balls out like he did last year and has another monster year where he's like MVP contention, it might change the slotting a little bit or bump Trevor's number up.
Yeah, if Tua's playing the way he's playing right now, he's going to bump it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Trevor will bump that.
Okay.
I'm curious where you think the ceiling is.
But they don't have to do Trevor. They have to do Tua.
Yeah.
I think the Trevor deal's easy. I think the framework is there for everybody. It's just there. I think the Burrow deal was kind of easy. It was a matter of what they were going to do. It's probably some semantics. There's always some little things in there.
Don't you think the longer they wait, the higher that number goes?
Here's the deal.
I do.
I think Trevor wants to be here. I think he loves it here. I think he knows he's in a good place.
Okay.
So I don't think you have anything to worry about there. I think the Jags will give him whatever he's worth and whatever's the going rate because they understand his value.
I'm not doubting the deal gets done. I'm just curious where you think the ceiling is.
I mean, it's hard to predict where the ceiling is, but I think it's just whatever the next notch is, I mean, if you show me – so really, Joe Burrow's what, 55 right now?
Yeah.
Is that what it ended up being?
Mm-hmm.
And he's the latest one, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing average annual value? Is that what we're talking about?
Right, there's two different numbers.
Like
but
they're
the
not going to
AAV
do
number's 55, yeah.
They're not going to do Justin Fields.
No.
No, they might actually.
Well, no, but
Well,
not to
at
this degree.
$55 million.
No, not at 55. But yeah, no, the
It'll
deal
look
might
more
get
like
done.
what's his name, like Daniel Jones or something if they were to do it
sure.
earlier.
The only big deal that could happen is Tua, because Tua has to get a deal.
He's in his fifth year.
Something has to be done. And if he plays this way for a whole season, then yeah, he's in that conversation.
But even Tua's deal, I think it's a little like you could find some more differentiation in the Tua deal because I'm not sure he gets slotted as a guy who's had some injury problems. But if he's on his way to MVP, you bypass that. Don't worry about
Burrow's
it.
had injury problems.
I know.
Not to the extent, I get it.
Tua's just a little more concerning. So maybe you put some
There's
language
some
in
clauses
there, right?
There's an injury
So that could
clause
get
for
tricky.
sure.
You're
from
currently you got
negotiation.
Burrow at 55 leading the charge, Herbert at 52.5, Lamar at 52, Hurts at 51, Russ at 48.5, Kyler at 46.1,
Jeez.
Watson at 46. That's a trio right there that teams probably regret. Mahomes at 45.
No, didn't he get it redone?
He reworked, but I don't think it affects this year.
Oh, gotcha.
And then 43 for Josh Allen, 40 for Daniel Jones at 10. And Matt Stafford.
Half of those are rough, man.
Let me ask you these two questions, okay? Should Tua get what Burrow has?
Should Tua get what Burrow has? I don't believe he should.
On October 10th, the answer is no. But ask me in January.
What does Tua do to make him deserve 55?
They go to the division, win a playoff game.
One playoff game, all right.
Does Trevor deserve or has earned, I hate the word deserve, has he earned what Burrow has?
Trevor hasn't earned the 55, but that's not how contracts work, especially for young guys in the NFL. He deserves 55 plus.
They win the division, yeah.
Without Trevor, this is a last-place team with one win.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of it.
You might be right.
I disagree with you guys. I think it's like status, kind of. It's like they didn't ask Tua to go to Miami and be the face of the franchise and the face of the city and the face of everything and turn us around like that. Like they asked him to go play well, and we invested in you, and we want you to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They asked Trevor to do something Joe Burrow was asked to do.
I got to stop you for 1 second because Tua was drafted 5th, and it was after he had his hip replaced, so he lost draft value in the draft because of this injury that doesn't affect him. So they could have been asking him to do what they asked Trevor to do, become the face and pick him that early because they thought this was going to be the guy. Before Trevor was a thing, Tua was the guy. He was the undisputed number one pick.
For Tua. Listen, I understand.
The original tank.
I understand that you, like, when you have a franchise quarterback, you ask them to do that regardless. They asked Justin Herbert to do that. They asked
Justin Fields.
Whatever. Name the player. I get it. But this market and Cincinnati's market and the way this team had lost, different. It's even different than Miami, who, by the way, hadn't won a ton. But it's just a different animal.
Yeah.
Like, you are asking them to be the mayor of Jacksonville.
Yeah, you're the only show in town in Jacksonville.
The only thing, like, everything revolves around you. Everything. Cincinnati is that way. Now, Cincinnati's got other sports. It's kind of a bigger city in, I guess, some respects than Jacksonville. But it's the same because they stunk for so long. They have to flip the franchise. Everything is on you, the quarterback. Let's be honest. The way they built that team in Miami, there are a lot of quarterbacks that could go in there right now and probably do pretty well, and they have them winning.
Tell that to last year's Miami Dolphins, who stunk up the joint without Tua Tagovailoa. They lost out of the playoffs.
I'm not telling you can go find the 50th best quarterback in the NFL. I'm telling you could find Baker Mayfield to throw it to him and be
Tua
pretty good.
and Skylar Thompson would be great.
So, I'm just saying, if you look at the 2020 draft, you got Joe Burrow at number 1.
Yep.
You got Herbert at number 6, and the guy in between him is Tua.
Listen, if Tua, so I guess this is sum it up for me. Tua does have to do some special stuff to finish off the year to get to the Burrow level, where I think you could do the contract right now with Trevor, and he's exactly what you thought you'd be. You're going to invest in him. You want him to be that guy that's the highest paid or the next highest paid guy. Like, you don't have to do – you just got to keep doing what you're doing. If you're Trevor, you don't have to have, like, MVP next to your name or 2 playoff wins next to your name. Tua might need some of that kind of accomplishment to get to the Burrow stature.
Kasey, you're Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins offer you 50 average annual value. The Raiders offer you 60. Where are you going?
How much is guaranteed?
Nah, you're saying Tua's like, he'd be a loyal guy. He's staying there.
Well, here's the thing, because he doesn't have to is the point.
Well,
Like,
he should, because it will work. If he goes to the Raiders, he'll get exposed.
Yeah, and also killed.
That's why I asked you how much guaranteed, because if you're giving me a lot more guaranteed, yeah, I'll go to
I'm just
Oakland
saying,
and call it.
this could be a wild situation where you have a free agent quarterback like you've never seen before.
It's true.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. We are way late. That is not wild. We'll be back. Football at 5 on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Not as cool, but still very nice tonight under partly cloudy skies. Temperatures dropping into the upper 50s to lower 60s. Clouds will move in and across the area on Wednesday with a few afternoon showers developing. Highs around 80 degrees. That rain becomes heavy at times tomorrow night. From the First Alert Weather Center for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
Hey, poker fans, you're in for a treat this October at Best Bet. With over $690,000 in poker promotions paid out this month, this is no time to be on the sidelines. Highlights include the $400 GoPo 400 with $40,000 guarantee at Best Bet Orange Park, the $100,000 guarantee St. Augustine Championship, and the return of the World Poker Tour $1 million guarantee at Best Bet Jacksonville. For all the details, visit bestbetjax.com. That's bestbetjax.com.
It's fantasy football like you've never played it before. You love fantasy football, right? Of course you do. Do you like competing? Yeah. You like winning? Absolutely. It's Fantasy Card Breaks with Divoli's House of Cards. You don't know your team until you open the pack of cards. There's curiosity, competition, and collecting prizes. Visit Divoli's House of Cards off 210 in St. Johns County, or just visit fantasycardbreaks.com. Fantasy football like you've never played it before with Divoli's House of Cards. FantasyCardBreaks.com.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Play a little
throw pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages, Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Come on, honey. It's so hot that...
It's too hot for your cheesy riddles.
Come on, please. It's so hot that...
Fine. How hot is it?
It's so hot, chickens are laying hard-boiled eggs. It's so hot, we're boiling pasta in the pool. It's so hot that...
Yeah, I get it. It's hot.
It's not just hot. It's Hammond hot.
And only Hammond can handle Hammond Hot. Any AC company can handle kind of hot, sort of hot, maybe even pretty hot. But when your system is running 24 hours a day, you can't get to the temperature you want, and you strategically open and close vents to redirect air, that's when you have to call Hammond. After all, Hammond has been North Florida's most trusted AC authority for your neighbors since 1957. With techs who not only know how to get your system running again, but also how to keep it running at peak efficiency and performance. Remember, only Hammond can handle Hammond Hot. HammondAir.com.
You can make a difference in the lives of people living with lung cancer. Join the American Lung Association at our Lung Force Run Walk on October 14th to help us end lung cancer. Learn more at lungforce.org/Jacksonville. That's lungforce.org/Jacksonville.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When I started in '98, it was a different mentality for first responders.
I've seen a lot of people struggle after retirement, still fighting the same demons that they had on the job.
The ability to reach out to a peer support program is huge.
I've done your job. I know the burden you carry. You've saved other people. Let us save you at this time.
It only takes a couple seconds to dial 3 numbers.
First responders, call 211 or visit stayfitforduty.org.
Be the star that lights the way. The Starlight Gala is here on October 13th from 6 to 10 p.m. And it's your time to shine. Join us in celebrating student achievements and closing out Hispanic Heritage Month with a bang. Get your tickets now at fchcc.com and be part of this radiant night. The Starlight Gala, proudly sponsored by VyStar, is where we honor our heritage and inspire the future. Save the date, October 13th, and secure your tickets at fchcc.com because you can be the star that closes out this Hispanic Heritage Month with a brilliant flourish.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Football at 5 here on a Tuesday. Brent Martineau. I know you love that Aaron Schachter. Kasey Kuhrts.
I love Brent Martineau.
20-38.
The wild thing is, I give you guys a hard time for saying what day it is. I never remember what day it is. I could use this information very much.
You're being too nice. You're being way too nice. Give us some tweets. Give us some X's. What you got?
How about this post from around the NFL Power Rankings? Everyone's got it. I just took it from the Around the NFL folks. But any power ranking you look at right now, the Jaguars are shooting way up after the 2 wins in London. And the NFL.com ones, I think they're up to 7th. Where would you put them if you looked at this team now as a local personality, not as one of these national jokers who just goes, oh, they won twice. Get them back in the top 10. what legitimate number are you slotting them at?
Wow, they were up to number 7 in some polls. That surprises me.
The first 5 in everybody's polls are relatively similar.
San Francisco, Philly, the
Dolphins. A lot
Dolphins.
of people have the Dolphins.
Kansas City.
Detroit is in there for a lot of people.
Is Detroit in the top 5?
For a lot of people.
That's okay.
But the Jags
Where's,
now back
Tampa?
in the top 10. Tampa is right outside the top 10 in some, right inside the top 10 in others. Somewhere between 12 and 8 for a lot of people.
Seahawks are probably pretty high.
Not as high as the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, I don't mind. I think those people are somewhat smart to keep the Jags right around there. It just surprises me, but there are a lot of teams that look kind of mediocre in the NFL right now. Those top 5 probably should be top 5. Record-wise, you'd then have to go to Tampa or Seattle to find like a 3-1 team, and now they haven't even played 5 games because they were on byes. So I don't mind the Jags being next because they did beat Indianapolis, and I think what people know is the Jags are brewing here a little bit. Like their defense is way better than anybody thought, and they know the offense is good enough to be better than it is. And so I think people are actually smart on this front, and the Jags could be on the verge of really going on a roll. They might.
Here was the write-up from NFL.com. Even with Week 4's solid, convincing win over Atlanta, I think Sunday was the first time that we could say the offense was really humming. It had been a bit of an underperforming unit, frankly, prior to ringing up 474 yards and 29 first downs against Buffalo, even with Trev's 3 fumbles. And I'm not ignoring the fact that he and his team have fumbled at a too high a rate, and the sacks keep racking up. But getting that big play potency back was pretty key. And it was fueled by Calvin Ridley and Travis Etienne, just as it was meant to be. The defense has been mostly stout, but the offense has to find a little bit more mojo. By the way, Seattle slotted at 9 on this list.
Okay. Where are the Cowboys?
Right under them at 8.
Yeah, it's an interest because that was like they got thumped. But
Baltimore
it's almost like
10.
you're excused by getting thumped by San Francisco
A little bit, yeah, of course. They are down 3 after that game.
Here's the other thing that's helped the Jags is Houston's way better than anybody thought. They're 2-3, easily could be 3-2. And everybody thought they'd be a walkover. So actually losing that game doesn't look as bad from the outside looking in as it feels. Like it was a bad loss. I don't care. The Jags are better than Houston. You can't get beat by 20 at home. You can't do that on special teams. It was a joke of a loss. It was a really bad loss. But from the outside looking in, it doesn't look as bad as it felt.
Houston's been one of these teams that a lot of people have found a hard time slotting. Right now they're 21, but they're down 6 from last week. So they were up at around 15. Case, where would you put the Jaguars right now?
I don't know, bro. Done power rankings for a year and 5 weeks on overtime on Tuesday, so I guess you got to find out on overtime.
Oh, we got a little teaser.
Yeah.
Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton, then Inside Seminoles football. Then we will join the baseball game in progress tonight. We're loaded up on ESPN 690, but don't miss Kasey Kuhrts Power Rankings with Brian Middleton coming up on overtime. No secrets. Don't tell.
The tease.
We got teases all over the place today. Coming up on Action News Jax at 6:08. I'll be live.
You had mentioned this
Shad Khan
tweet
and Mark Lamping.
a little bit earlier from Fox
That'll be
Sports.
during the power rankings. So people will have to decide.
Pick your poison. You can DVR me. You can go
You
back
just
and
go
find
back.
you later.
Yeah, I'll be defeated, but that's fine.
We just talked about it, so we don't have to harp on it, but you were talking about this tweet, so I wanted to get it up on the stream here. Last 16 games, including the playoffs, Trev 11-5, Josh Allen 11-5. Trev 67.5 completion, Josh 64.8. Trev 252.3 passing yards per game, Josh 256.
That surprises me. I thought Allen would have way more.
256.8. Must have played the Jets a couple of times. TD to interceptions, 25-9 for Trev, 30-16 for Josh Allen. We know it got a little squirrely there at the end of the year last year. Quarterback rating, 95.7 for Trev, 92.6 for Josh Allen. People crow about Josh Allen like he's a no doubt about it MVP candidate. You don't really hear him talk about Trev right now.
No, I mean, again, I thought coming off that game they should have been talking about Trevor a little bit more. The fumbles don't bother me nearly as much as everybody else. Here's the one thing Trevor probably needs a little more in his column is touchdowns to get in the conversation. People do look at stats, and he's got 5. 5's a weird, like 5 after 5 games. That's it.
Yeah.
But his performance has been just better than that. So even when they're struggling, his performance has been good. I think people looked at the Jags like, why is their offense struggling? It must be Trevor. They didn't go look at it. They just thought it must be Trevor. And the bottom line is it wasn't. Like, you can really make the case that Trevor Lawrence is playing some of the best quarterback in the NFL.
I think
through the first 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think you could.
But the stats don't necessarily back that up. Like, I don't know. I haven't watched Russell Wilson play. But if you look at Russell Wilson's stats, he's got 11 touchdowns and 2 picks. It says they're playing brilliant. They're 1-4. Must not be his problem.
Well, I watched him the other day against the Jets, and it didn't look great.
Well, and I think some people would say that. It's kind of like, okay, it's just still not
dink and
dynamic,
dunk.
right?
He airs it out a little bit to Mims every now and then, but a little dink and dunk is all they're doing this year.
But if you're going after the best quarterback play in the National Football League, you'd have to go Brock Purdy, like number one on the list.
You think Brock Purdy has a chance at the MVP case?
I don't know, bro. He's balling.
He is balling right now.
I mean,
Is he playing the best quarterback of anybody? Jared Goff would be way up there.
I think Goff is playing a little
Jared
better.
Goff.
I mean, how about that? How about your top two quarterback performances maybe through the first 5 weeks might be Goff and Purdy?
And by the way, Goff, another guy who could be one of these wild free agent quarterbacks this offseason, just roaming free out there, looking for a deal.
Someone who knows how to do stuff on the internet. Go back and find that day we did top 5 NFC quarterbacks, and these boys laughed me out of the building when I had Goff and Purdy on there. Go find it.
Obviously, Tua is on that list, too. He would be. And Jalen Hurts. But Hurts isn't like as dynamic as he was last year right now, right?
No,
I
he's
feel
not.
like the Eagles are 5-0, but people are a little bit disappointed in their 5-0, it seems like.
It does feel like they're still trying to find themselves in some ways. They have this stout defense, although the secondary is a little bit depleted because of injuries.
Good. Secondary's not good.
And then the running backs, you've seen a lot out of the backfield, but it's all offensive line.
That's nice when you don't feel like you're very good and you're 5-0.
Yeah.
And you know what else? I think people are tired of the tush push.
I mean, yeah, they're trying to ban it. So
like right in the middle of the
season,
season, they're trying to ban it.
Yeah, they've had enough.
There's some conversation about it.
Which is kind of dumb, in my opinion. Just let them push them in the butt.
Let me take it at NFL Total Access for the next post.
I mean, it's fine. Who cares?
You're right.
Just learn how to run it. We wouldn't be complaining if the Jags could run it.
Nah, I honestly,
love it.
I would
agree
invite
with
them
you,
to
Kasey.
try to figure it out. Maybe Doug should call back up there to see if his phone still works.
I think people like the NFL and everybody else, it's a boring play. And so you're really making football boring. That should be an exciting down, 4th and 1. And right now the Eagles are not making that exciting.
Well, it's exciting for their fans because they know they got a new set of downs.
Totally get it. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just telling you, I think that's where the angst is coming from. And it's like, first of all, it looks unstoppable. So now you're playing with really a 9-yard first down marker.
Love it.
Instead of 10.
Yeah.
Jags be so good.
I think they'll outlaw it.
But I just think there's an entertainment piece in here that's like, this is boring.
I think they'll just outlaw pushing players again.
And it looks like you're cheating.
A little bit. I don't know. I don't mind.
You want to
They
know?
have the cheat code. That's the problem.
Yeah. Just get behind there and just push. You want to know what looked like cheating, by the way? This
USC throwing the punt returner onto the ball?
That was pretty bad. This they just really played Sonny Gray out to look like he was cheating in this Twins game. He got rocked, but every time something happened, he went to his neck. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But anyway.
NFL Total Access has our next post. All eyes on C.J. Stroud, they say. Most pass attempts without an interception to begin a career in NFL history. C.J. Stroud now owns the record at 186 pass attempts. Dak Prescott on that list, Tom Brady, Kyle Allen, and Tua Tagovailoa.
Kyle Allen, huh?
At what point, guys, at what point do you think the Panthers will finally regret not taking C.J. Stroud? Panthers right now, dead last with no pick.
Yeah, I think they already do.
You think they regret it?
Yeah.
I think they regret it too. I saw them pull Bryce out for Andy Dalton so that they could do a quarterback sneak at midfield.
Did you see the soundbite from Frank Reich that's going around? About like, it was asked like an ownership question, how hands-on ownership is. It looked like an uncomfortable answer of like sometimes owners are involved, sometimes they're not. What's interesting is this owner in Carolina appears to be very involved.
David
and a lot of
Tepper,
people
yeah.
thought that he's the one that made the pick. And he comes on the heels of Reich, who was the head coach in Indianapolis, where at least it feels like Irsay is involved because he's vocal. So how much is he involved? Who knows? But it feels like it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting deal that Reich's been kind of in those two situations already.
No help is on the way in Carolina, by the way.
They made the wrong choice, most likely long. I just don't know how you can see Bryce Young long-term being very good. Can he survive? Can he be okay? Yeah. But you picked him number one to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
And Stroud looks like the part. I still say this is the time where people will start to figure him out, but it's been 5 weeks now, and he hasn't thrown an interception, so he's pretty good.
Pretty good. Let's talk about the Patriots for a second because they've got a homegrown product from here. For the Mac Jones defenders, you guys will like this one. This is coming from Savage, who's a Patriots tweeting account or X-posting account. Patriots wide receivers average the least amount of separation on targets in the NFL, 3.1 yards. The offensive line has a pass block win rate of 39.7, the worst in the NFL.
Wow.
Poor Mac Jones has literally 0.7 seconds to think about before he gets to throw that ball. to a wide receiver who's
not open,
covered by everybody,
who really hasn't taken a step yet off the line.
Exactly.
You know, Mac is starting outside of year one, right? Year one it was good, it was fine, everything worked. These last 2 years, he feels a little bit like, I would say, even Blaine Gabbert, where Gabbert wasn't given much of a chance. I'm not saying Gabbert would have been great, but he really wasn't given much of a chance with what was around him. The offensive line, the weapons, everything else. It just wasn't good in Jacksonville. And I just don't know if Gabbert was as bad as it ended up being, because I think it was hard to tell. It was so bad around him.
Is anyone who makes the NFL really as bad as they end up being
probably
in the
not.
NFL?
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe you can be. Maybe just totally miss. But the other is Sam Darnold. Darnold's like another one that's like, okay, did we really find out that Darnold was good or bad, or was it just an unfair thing?
I think it was unfair.
I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Mac Jones get another shot somewhere else. Now, will he make the most of it? Maybe, maybe not. But we'll find out if he's put in a better situation, that maybe he can do better than what he's doing.
Case, Mac Jones, is he better than Pickett?
We're out of time.
Is he better than Ritter?
Yeah, he's better than Ritter.
Had to find somewhere. Okay.
Check out the power rankings, Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton. And,
you will not find the Falcons, nor the Steelers, nor the Patriots.
Nor will you find the power rankings on this show, because you're holding them for overtime.
Tomorrow on ESPN 690, Brent and Friends. Before we go, we got to let you know, tired of shopping those online dealers that overpromise and underdeliver? Nimnick Buick GMC proud to introduce you to Car Bravo, a better way to shop used vehicles online with transparent pricing. So check it out at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit them on Phillips Highway, nimnickbuickgmc.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Valor Bare-Knuckle is back in Jacksonville. The legend Ken Shamrock playing host, and the card is highlighted with a heavyweight bout. Valor Bare-Knuckle highlights combat sports in its truest form. It's one night, October 27th, and it's at UNF Arena, an intimate setting surrounding the electrifying bout circle. October 27th at UNF Arena. For ticket information, go to valorbk.com. Don't miss it. Raw, electric, exhilarating. Valor Bare-Knuckle 2 in Jacksonville, October 27th, valorbk.com.
Frank, you got to come see my new windows from American Window Products. They're beautiful and they keep the house so cool.
Oh, slow down, Jim.
No, Frank. American Window Products is having a sale right now, and you said you wanted a locally owned business with qualified products and professional installers. Well, American Window Products has all that and more.
More?
Yes, selection and great prices at American Window Products.
Whoa, what's that number?
731-2247, a family-owned business since 1981. Check them out at AmericanWindowProducts.com. Call them, Frank.
I'm calling American Window Products right now, Jim.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Car Bravo is here at Nimnick Buick GMC, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnick Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Hey, it's a win-win for everyone. You always win at Nimnick Buick GMC. I've always won 6 different cars purchased for our family. Terrific selection of used cars under $20,000 at Nimnick. Experience Euphoria with Car Bravo online at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hey, it's Brian Middleton, and I made the choice to do something about my weight. I chose Awaken 180 weight loss. In only 5 weeks, I've already dropped 28.6 pounds. Life-changing results in just over a month. What's stopping you? Awaken180weightloss.com.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
and get ready for the workday.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Jacksonville area attorneys. Offices in Jacksonville and by appointment only in Ponte Vedra Beach. Online at CordellCordell.com. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
It's fantasy football like you've never played it before. You love fantasy football, right? Of course you do. Do you like competing? Yeah. You like winning? Absolutely. It's Fantasy Card Breaks with Divoli's House of Cards. You don't know your team until you open the pack of cards. There's curiosity, competition, and collecting prizes. Visit Divoli's House of Cards off 210 in St. Johns County, or just visit fantasycardbreaks.com. Fantasy football like you've never played it before with Divoli's House of Cards. fantasycardbreaks.com.
This is Ortho Health Insights, tips for life in motion, brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Shoulder pain can be caused by repetitive or overhead activities. Bursitis, tendonitis, and frozen shoulder are all examples of shoulder pain without a known injury. Alternating heat and cold therapies, massage, and stretching, and paying attention to your sleep style can help. One of the most important things you can do if you have shoulder pain is rest. You can also reduce inflammation in your body naturally through your diet. If your pain lasts longer than 2 weeks, or if you feel a pop or tearing sensation in your shoulder, the orthopedic physicians at JOI are experienced in diagnosing the cause and treating your pain. Whether you need a course of physical therapy or surgery, JOI can help. Call 904-JOI-2000. That's 904-JOI-2000. Or to learn more, go to JOI.net. JOI is the official sports medicine provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We're in the middle of it now, the fall season, as we hit October on the campus of the University of North Florida. Swoop with the Ospreys, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf, swimming programs, all in mid-season form. Plenty of events to attend, something for everyone on the campus of UNF. And coming soon, it's men's and women's basketball. The schedule is out, plenty of home games to attend. Bring the family. Season tickets are for sale. Get news, schedules, results, and tickets at UNFOspreys.com. And swoop for the Ospreys all season. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Tune into our high-energy, multi-platform show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690 and a variety of video streaming platforms as well. As the seasons change, so do the sports topics. It's football season now, and we're bringing you all things sports weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. And you can tailgate with us at the Duval house for every Sunday home game this football season. Fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks.
Get into the game at Best Bet. Come enjoy the best in-card games, hospitality, and fun at Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park. You don't have to be a poker pro to have a great time. Featuring poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Pai Gow. Wager on exciting simulcast races and enjoy delicious food and drink. Our card rooms are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers. They take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi from Minneapolis. Game 3, American League Divisional Series. The visiting Astros got on the board early against Sonny Gray and the Twins.
Here's the 2-1. Swinging a high, deep drive left field. He ripped it. Wallner turning. See you later. That gets into the second level. That is a 3-run shot by Jose Abreu.
Dave O'Brien on ESPN Radio. That Abreu home run, part of a 4-run first for Houston. Alex Bregman's added a solo shot. Astros leading the Twins 5-0, bottom 5. Christian Javier has limited Minnesota to just 1 hit. First goal of this NHL season has been scored by Nikita Kucherov. Lightning leading the Predators 1-0 first period in a game in the opener of an NHL opening night tripleheader on ESPN. Coming up at 8 Eastern, the highly anticipated NHL debut of the top overall pick this year, Connor Bedard. He and the Blackhawks visit Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. Final game of the night, Golden Knights raise their Stanley Cup championship banner and then take on the Kraken at 10:30 Eastern. NFL Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce returned to practice today, listed as a limited participant because of an ankle injury suffered on Sunday.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you which teams need to make a quarterback change if they want to save their season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Klein Tools are new at Lowe's, pros. Lowe's knows you want top brands and quality products, and Klein Tools delivers. Right now, get the Klein 3-piece ModBox mobile workstation for $319.94 and the Klein 5-piece cushion grip screwdriver set for just $34.97, both exclusively at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein tools, the highest quality tool brand at Lowe's. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
Yo, 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 what's up, party people? I'm Julie Foudy.
And I'm Lynn Ozawi.
We host the ESPN podcast Laughter Permitted, where we have candid chats with trailblazing women in sports and beyond.
We've talked with goats like Billie Jean King, Simone Biles, Mia Hamm, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Michaela Schifrin, just to name a few.
So grab a donut or 500 and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ally, who has supported us since day one.
It's Laughter Permitted.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
How y'all doing? Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. On a Tuesday. Inside Seminole football coming up on ESPN 690. Thank you so much. You will hear from Mike Norvell as the Florida State Seminoles remain perfect, and then you will get some baseball coverage of the playoffs coming up tonight on the station. But for the next hour, it is Brian Middleton. And it is Kasey Kuhrts hanging out, talking some football. We talked all day yesterday about the Jags. And on a Tuesday, what we do is we talk about, well, who's the best in the league, Brian? We do it and we call it the power rankings. Is that correct?
Oh. That is correct. Look
Well,
at me
let's do
ready
it.
with the music finally for a segment.
You were in here early today. Huffle must have been on time.
Yeah, Huffle was early.
Early?
Yeah.
Shocked the world.
Must have heard some footsteps.
Shout out Huff.
Schachter somewhere.
Shout out Huff. You want to start?
Hey,
You
my
want
boy.
to start or you want me to start?
I think I started last week. You go ahead and start.
Brian, I'm a visionary.
You eat crow. This sounds like eating crow. Let's go.
I'm a visionary, Brian. And without question, the number one team at the top of the power rankings. There's no reason that it could be any other team. I'm not sure why anybody would have any other teams above this team. It is clear as day that the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the league. I don't understand how you could even think any of these other teams.
Yeah.
I could understand maybe through like weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4 why you could have thought other teams, but through 5 weeks, there's absolutely no question that it's the San Francisco 49ers. What they did to the Dallas Cowboys was certainly something, we'll call it. I felt a lot like I did watching the Jags when I was watching the 49ers, in the sense that Brock Purdy was making big-time throws in that game. And it wasn't just what some would say is the usual game management from Brock Purdy. It was not that. I thought he was making big-time throws. The stats aren't fantastic other than he completed a high percent and threw the 4 touchdowns. That's fantastic. Not a lot of huge plays, but I thought he made some big-time throws in tight windows and continued to show that progression. On defense, they're just special. No other way to put it. Christian McCaffrey, they couldn't really run the ball. That impressed me about Brock Purdy as well. They couldn't run the football, and he just diced up their defense, which is pretty good. I know they're without Trayvon Diggs now because of the injury, but that team as a whole shut down a Dallas team that we were talking about a couple weeks in, just absolutely destroying people. What they did to the Giants and the Cowboys are a whole different thing. But San Francisco, we talked about it in the break yesterday, and I think what you said and what we agreed on is absolutely right. Somebody's going to have to get hurt to stop San Francisco. And knock on wood, I ain't rooting for nobody to get hurt, but like, this team is really, really good in every side of the football, at every position. There's no weakness to be found. Brock Purdy, I think it's fair to say, I thought it was fair to say last year, but now it's definitely fair to say he's not blinking. He's not just all of a sudden going to become a 7th-round quarterback. That's not going to happen. This guy's legit. So I don't know who's beating San Francisco at all. Like, I really don't. They'll go to Cleveland. That'll be tough. It will not be tough to beat Minnesota. Cincinnati would be a fun matchup. Then they play the Jags. But, like, I don't know, man. Come playoff time at home in San Francisco, I don't know who's beating them. And we're going to find out because they're going to be hosting playoff games, and you're probably going to have to go through there to get to the Super Bowl. But, man, San Francisco is good. I got him at number 1.
Philadelphia Eagles on line 1, talking about having to go through a team in the playoffs. Like, our records are the same. Amazing. Also, Kasey, I forgot to do this.
1.
But you did so well anyway. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I appreciate it.
And start over. Kasey Kuhrts, glad you finally are starting to have the scales drop from your eyes. I also have San Francisco as number 1, as I have since week 10 of last season. Number 1 in the power rankings. This is going to sound like a broken record from a true visionary, not one that's a visionary in training, or a VIT, I like to call him.
Oh, okay.
CMC is a beast as usual, even though he finally looked human for the first game in the season. Luckily, the legend of my church buddy, Brock Purdy, shout out to Rock Point Church in Queens Creek, Arizona.
Did you know his parents were a hot tub? They sell hot tubs?
Makes sense.
Did you see that story?
No,
Brian, it doesn't make sense. They live in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Why are you selling hot tubs in Phoenix?
People like to relax out there in Phoenix. You know what I mean?
There's nothing like the 120 degrees outside getting into the 120-degree
hot tub, man. The money different out there, man.
Anyway,
the
go
money's
on.
different.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
But I'm saying his legend, Brock Purdy's legend, continues to grow. Kasey Kuhrts, in the words of the urban poet Snoop Doggy Dogg, when he was talking about Drake making hit after hit, this blankety blank don't miss. I know I just talked about church, but I gotta say it like that. This blankety blank don't miss. Brock Purdy, he don't miss. Leading the league still in QBR and passer rating. Don't quite know the difference between the two. Feel like they cross over in the same way, like a Venn diagram, but he leading everybody. Your favorite quarterback, your team starting quarterback, ain't better than Brock Purdy, says the numbers. Like you just said, 4 more touchdowns, 0 more interceptions.
Yeah.
And something else I like about this offense, besides the fact that, okay, when McCaffrey is human for a game and then you look over, Brock Purdy was the guy, because if you looked at the receiving stats, it was 5 here, it was 3 here, it was 4 here receptions. Now, granted, Kittle had, I think, like 3 touchdowns, but nobody just blew anybody away reception-wise, yards-wise. This is what I like about the San Francisco offense. They are superimposing. They're averaging 35.7 points at home. Kasey Kuhrts, what do you think they're averaging when they're on the road? Let me tell you before you even say a guess. 30. 3 on the road. We talked about the Jags, defense traveling and things of that nature yesterday. The San Francisco offense, they said even if we got to go on the road in the playoffs, it's going to travel. You're going to have a headache whether you come out here to the West Coast or we go to wherever little ranky-dank little stadium you call home. This offense is that deal. And we spent all this time on the offense, the defense, another ho-hum game. Another week, I haven't changed this line on my notes yet. Another week, 4 more sacks. I just changed a little bit of numbers because they always have a sack. 3 more interceptions, and the partridge in the pear tree, Kasey Kuhrts, they just keep stacking up those stats. The very important ones, the flashy ones. Not only can I get to your quarterback, when I don't get to your quarterback, you know what? He's going to be shook. He's going to throw an interception anyway, and we're going to break you down. This is crazy, man. Final thing before we go on to the next one, looked at the scoring margin difference. They're leading the league. 19.8 points per game, the scoring difference between them and their opponent.
Yep.
It's not even close.
It's wild.
I don't advocate sweeping of the leg, but that might be what has to happen. You ain't hear that from me. I'm not John Kreese. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you what I've seen in history, things that help you win. So San Francisco, just like young Kurt said, I have them at number 1.
2. I'm a visionary, Brian.
Here we go. Okay.
And listen, after a slight hiccup in Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, the Miami Dolphins have reclimbed the charts and are number 2 in my power rankings. Listen, Miami Dolphins, still good. They played the Giants. I get it. They had a slight situation against the Bills. All is forgiven. They do need to figure out how to play some defense. And they're going to have to do something now that your boy, Devon Achane, as they say, is hurt. He will miss some time after he goes for another 151 on 11 carries, by the way. This guy is like Mr. Big Play, but he will miss some time, so I'll have to figure that out. Tyreek Hill, no big deal. I'll go for 181 and a touchdown. Giants don't really play any defense. Jalen Waddle said, I'm still here. I still play in the league. Granted, the Giants stink, but the Dolphins defense showed up, held them to 16 points. All right, they're working on it. I don't know what they're going to do. They got to figure out how to play some more defense, but that offense, it travels, Brian, and they're going to figure it out. Again, one bad game against the Bills. Other than that, they put up 70, 36, 31, and 24. 24 on Bill Belichick, by the way. That means something, or at least it used to before Mac was throwing 6 pick six a game. But guess what they do next week? Guess what they will play next week? They'll play in Miami against the Carolina Panthers. 70 alert. 75 alert.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm with you. I'm actually with you.
They might win again by 50. And then we will finally find something out about both of these teams, I think, in 2 weeks on Sunday Night Football when they play the Eagles. So that'll be a great matchup. We're a couple weeks away from it. But right now, they're second best team in the league, Brian. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing, Brian.
All right.
The Miami Dolphins. Come on.
Wow. All right. We'll just get you a Dolphins jersey before I go to my number 2. I think that's Andy Cray. I can't quite see from here, man. I appreciate you, my boy. It's a lot of hard work going into the slimming of the face,
that
my
was
boy.
Andy Cray, yes.
You know what I'm saying? This boy right here, Kasey Kuhrts, trying to get me to get my A1C all the way back up, asking why I'm drinking unsweetened iced tea. But I'm putting a lot of work in, Andy, and I appreciate the noticing and the observation.
You drink the worst beverages of all time.
The sparkling water, you were just off.
The sparkling water sucked.
25. You shouldn't like sparkling water.
The sparkling water was awful, and I'm a big sweet tea guy, like all kinds of tea, right? I'm with it.
It's fair.
Big sweet tea guy.
You are.
I can do unsweet tea if I have to, right? I've done it in Indiana with those fools. They look at me sideways when I try to get sweet tea when I'm up there with those people. But like willingly going to the store and because you bought like a case of that, right?
Nah, I usually buy like 4 or 5. They don't sell that public.
So just buy the case then. There's 6 in the case, Brian. But anyway, not important.
I don't see a case of them. I think that's why.
Because they don't make cases unsweet. You're right. Good call. They never thought anyone would buy 6 unsweet teas.
I hate you. Okay.
So as you're loading up your cart, maybe think about not doing that, Brian.
Maybe
you have the worst beverages. I can't imagine what the fridge at your house looks like. 2. There's sparkling water after unsweet tea.
Well stocked.
After probably cranberry juice or something. Probably something else.
Cranberry juice is good, though.
Is it in your fridge?
No, I don't have any.
Thank goodness.
Cranberry juice is good. Number 2. I'm a true visionary. Okay, we're just gonna say that to death, but I'm a true visionary.
I won't say it again.
Because no. I need you to say that because we're gonna have to really weigh out whether or not one of us isn't a visionary down the line.
If this is the Jags,
I think you are.
I'm gonna be so upset.
It's not the Jags.
Okay.
You're gonna be upset anyway.
If it's the Lions,
you have to take the entirety of the NFL season,
it's the Lions,
as well as week to week, into account.
It's Detroit.
Okay, Detroit Lions. You're coming along nicely, VIT. Hear me out real quick. I know you've been trying to get the visionary status, Kuhrts. You were screaming scoreboard all over the place last week, and I guess rightfully so. But back in 1973.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Gladys Knight and the Pips. You ever heard of them?
Oh, what you mean? I know about Gladys Knight and the Pips.
They had that song Midnight Train to Georgia.
I know about Midnight Train to Georgia.
I'm going to make a little bit of a change, but right here, Kasey Kuhrts, we're going to do this.
I be singing that in the house.
Hey, man, we heading on the winning train to Detroit. Woo-hoo! That's what we doing at 4-1.
They had the Pips saying,
yeah, that's what I'm doing right there. The winning train to Detroit. 4-1, Kuhrts. Again, we look at who they played and who they beat. For Kansas City, that Detroit loss don't look as bad as it did week 1, even though they didn't have Travis Kelce.
I agree.
And minus, again, look, Geno Smith is a phenomenon, okay? In Seattle, it's a phenomenon, okay? It can overwhelm anybody for an overtime. Minus that overtime, they're one of the 5-0 teams. Kasey Kuhrts, they are a top 4 scoring offense. They're about to get back Jameson Williams. I don't know if that's going to change the entirety of the offense. It probably won't, but more weapons, the better. It's a pick your poison situation. Defensively, they're 6th best in the league for yards allowed. And they're beating teams that they're supposed to beat the brakes off, i.e. the Carolina game.
Nice.
40-pointer. That's what you're supposed to do when you're just that good.
When you're playing Carolina, yeah.
They beat defender champs at their house opening night.
They did.
What do we want from this team? Dan Campbell has these guys in a frenzy. They're going to be an NFC player. They are going to dash somebody's hopes and dreams. I'm not saying they're getting to the championship game, but they're going to dash somebody's hopes and dreams, and I'm not sure who. But if I'm San Francisco, I'm not really worried. If I'm Philly, if I'm one of them other teams in the NFC, y'all better watch out. Because Detroit is here, and the number 2, and that's what visionaries do. They see it before most others. Detroit, the 2nd best team in the league after 5 weeks of play. Kasey Kuhrts.
3.
Okay, they're not the 2nd best team.
And neither is Miami. I know,
they are not the 2nd best team through 5 weeks of play. But I know who the 3rd best team is. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Still 5-0. Still 5-0. You hear me? They don't lose. Yeah. They do not lose. Other than the Super Bowl, they do not lose. All right? Point blank. They lost with Gardener a couple of times, but if Jalen Hurts is in and it's not the Super Bowl, they're winning. That's basically how this is going to go. And here we are again in the regular season, and they are undefeated yet again. Guess what? They're playing the Jets. Call it 6-0, and then when they play the Dolphins, we'll see some real football in a couple of weeks. Secondary still has questions. Again, it was not impressive. They just have more points than their team when the game ends. That's basically how it goes. That's all you need to do to win. None of these have really been that impressive. Jalen Hurts, he's throwing for 300 yards. He's running for another 70. A.J. Brown showing up. Pass rush showing up. Again, the secondary still have some questions, but it is the most unsexy 5-0 you'll ever see. But you know what? They just keep winning. And they're not going to stop winning either, I don't believe. So it's just wild.
Well,
you didn't get the right bed. Anyway, Jalen Carter, by the way, just want to throw this out there. Jalen Carter, real good at football. You know what we were kind of like thinking? And then the whole, obviously, like the person lost their life, so it's serious. But that whole thing happened. And then he fell in the draft to 9. And then the Eagles were just like, all right, why not? Yeah, why not? He's great. He's great at football. So, I mean, they're just going to keep winning. And I think I said this yesterday in the break to you. We're going to play this whole football season just for it to be Kansas City and Philadelphia again in the championship.
I think very well could happen.
Philadelphia's got to figure out how to beat San Francisco when the time comes. But as of now, the Eagles are just going to continue to beat people. And Yeah, that's about as simple as it is. I got the Eagles at 3.
Yeah, and again, I got to keep jumping to the chat. Of course, Marcus is going to side with Kasey. Of course, that's the case.
Sparkling water tastes like recycled bad breath particles. Basically.
Of course, huh? Okay.
It's pretty awful, Brian.
How about y'all get y'all A1C check? Way y'all looking at everything that's semi-healthy. I don't know, man.
I don't even know what A1C is.
To be fair, again, because you're 25. But that's
6.
okay.
I have no
idea.
idea.
Same thing, man. It's all the same thing.
I have no idea what it is.
Once you hit 30.
So I got 4 more years.
Yeah.
To drink sweet tea is what you're telling me?
Or you can drink it after 30. I'm just saying get your A1C checked afterwards.
I'll be sparkling water at the age of 30. What a mess.
Up, man. Also got Philly at number 3. Most of the reasons that you said, including the fact that we know defensively the run, they got it on lock. I think they allowed like 61 yards a game. I think that's what I looked up. They score a lot of points. It's just not going to look like it always does. I think what we got last season was a team didn't necessarily catch people by surprise because the season before they were 9-8. We thought that they could make a jump, but the jump that they made and the way that things clicked, it had something to do with the schedule too, but especially the way that things clicked, it was so dominating. It was so clean, minus the 2 games that Jalen Hurts was hurt towards the end of the season, that you were just like, huh. And when they come back this year, hey, watch out again, besides San Francisco. And this season, it's like some of it is survive, some of it is just we're better than you. It almost feels like them in Kansas City, and I'll bring this up if I talk about Kansas. I'll talk about Kansas City later on in this power rankings. It almost feels at this point like how I would hear in the NBA at times that teams kind of coast. There's more games.
Yeah.
You kind of coast, and you know when to turn it on in the playoffs. But, the NBA is not sudden death. They're serious. You can kind of turn it on. You know what I mean? You have that kind of margin for error. It almost feels like what's going on with Philly and probably Kansas City. But they're 5-0. I couldn't go any lower than 3rd. I could have, but it just would have been disrespectful. That's not visionary status. That's disrespectful status. So I got Philly at number 3 as well. Kasey Kuhrts.
I mean, you certainly disrespected those boys a little bit last year. I'm just saying.
Well, I didn't believe in them, and I was proven right when the right adversity came through.
You're talking about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, when the right adversity didn't come through.
They made it all the way to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and they didn't show up when I need them to show up.
Do you remember when I went to the Super Bowl, then flew overnight to be here?
Yeah,
and then pounded the table and was like, Philly was the better team.
Yeah.
That was a wild day.
Yeah, that was a wild day.
The team that actually was the better team that day was the Kansas City Chiefs. I got them at number 4. Only loss was to the Lions on opening night. Here's why I really got them here. Their offense is fine. Mahomes, the boys, we get it. Their defense is so much better than it's, I think, ever been in this run. They've developed it. It's good. Their secondary's good. They get after the quarterback. Chris Jones, the whole thing. Offensive line, solid. They're going to run the ball. Patrick Mahomes still great. Travis Kelce. It feels like they're coasting, right? You barely beat the Jets. You struggled to do it, though. Yeah, you beat the Vikings, but it was closer than it should have been. They play the Broncos next, by the way, Brian. That'll be ugly.
Yeah.
Listen to this. They go Broncos, Chargers, Broncos.
Must be nice. AFC West must be nice.
So we'll be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs at the 7-1 in a couple of weeks. But again, I think it's just they get the benefit of the doubt. They don't have anything to figure out. They will continue to win. It may not look great like Philadelphia, but if they win the AFC, we're all going to be like, all right, yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're capable of it. I do think they could add a weapon, because one thing through 5 weeks is their wide receivers are just okay. Nobody's taking that step. Rashee Rice actually looks like the guy taking the step for them. Not a Sky Moore, not a Kadarius Toney. I thought it was going to be Sky Moore. It hasn't been. Rashee Rice, the rookies looked okay, but they could use a piece. Van Jefferson gets traded today. He does not get traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think they could use a receiver. I don't know what they think, because they've got the ultimate weapon in Patrick Mahomes. But it feels like they could use somebody, pick somebody up, and try to do something. So we'll see. But, I mean, right now, they're the 4th best team in the league. They get the benefit of the doubt. They got the best quarterback. They got the best tight end, all of that, blah, blah, blah. They got the best coach. And their defense is so much better than it has ever been, I think, in this little run. So watch out for that.
Why they shooting that sparkling water across the water? Look, Andy, dog, that was funny. I laughed at that. Did you see this? It's a fundamentally bad idea. Huh? It's like someone decided that quenching your thirst was too much fun and it needed ruining.
It's about right.
In regards to sparkling water.
Yeah, sparkling water sucks, man.
And then Mark is tag teaming it again. You know what, man? That's cool. Y'all can hate. Y'all can hate, okay? We appreciate you listening and the interaction. I also got Kansas City. Many of the same reasons that you said. And then when you got Pat Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid and Chris Jones, you're going to beat more people than you're not. They're 4-1.
Yeah, that's fair.
Defending champs. If anybody is going to be able to put it on cruise control, quote unquote, and round into form, and I feel comfortable putting them in the top 5, it's going to be Kansas City in that pedigree. So, yeah, Kansas City at number 4, Kasey Kuhrts.
5.
There was a big argument to be made for the 5th spot on my power rankings. I had 2 teams fighting for the spot, and it went to a team that Brian had on his power rankings, but probably just a little too high. But I gotta respect him. I got the Detroit Lions at number 5. It was close. It was so close, Brian. I'll tell you about the team that's in 6 when we get there. But to your point, they're taking care of people. They lost to Seattle. Seattle's a good team. They took care of their business. That's why I appreciate them. They beat Kansas City. They kind of make the statement. The Falcons are worse than them. They beat the Falcons. They take care of the Packers, and they certainly take care of the Panthers. They do what they're supposed to do. Dan Campbell went from biting kneecaps and crying at the podium to winning football games. It's amazing. It's been an unbelievable turn of events. Jared Goff, who we argued about for like a half-hour segment, who I argued about on Brent Friends, who I told y'all was a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Y'all tried to laugh me out this building, and look now. He's completing 70%. He's throwing touchdown after touchdown. He hasn't even had his number 1 receiver most of the time. Come on. I told you about Jared Goff. Arguing me over Kyler Murray or Jared Goff. Give me a break. David Montgomery, Brian Middleton's favorite running back, just straight up putting in work.
Do you know?
Straight up.
Do you know, and I'm glad I didn't see this trade in real time, someone tried to trade Austin Eckler. Get this. It was for Puka Nacua and David Montgomery.
In my league?
And yeah.
Did it get declined? I didn't see this.
I didn't even look at I just messaged back like yesterday because it was like a week and a half ago. And I was like, my fault, I just saw this. That's all I saw. That's all I said.
Oh, you have Puka.
No, I don't have him. I didn't move with that. I don't want anything to do with David Montgomery. I don't care if he's turned the corner or not. I'm too traumatized from 2 seasons ago.
Well, he's played well. Jahmyr Gibbs is barely getting the football because David Montgomery's keeping him off the field.
Yeah, give it time.
But I know. Believe me, I know. All I'll say about this is they have a pretty nice pass rusher off the edge in Detroit who continues to make plays. But the rest of their defense is pretty solid as well. They're making plays in the back end. They're certainly making plays in the front. Yeah, no other way to put that. That guy's making plays for the Detroit Lions. And they're really good, Brian. They're not like second best team in the league good, but Jared Goff is leading them boys. I believe in Jared Goff. And I'm giving the Lions the 5th spot in the power rankings. How about it?
Here, Kurtz, again, got to go into visionary mode. Here we go. Probably should be Miami, but when you're visionary, got to change it up.
You still haven't said Miami?
The Seattle Seahawks. I know they were on a bye week. Listen to me, Gino and the boys. Coming off of that bye. 6th in scoring, so they can put the points up. But check this out, Kasey Kuhrts. They're 2nd in the league in scoring on the road. I am so enamored with this stat now because everybody can play well at home except for Jacksonville. Like, everybody can do that, right?
Yeah.
What's going to matter for a team like Seattle, who is not going to get home field advantage? San Francisco's there, Philly's there. That's the first 2 spots right there.
Yep.
You know, good luck on maybe, hosting a playoff game, wild card weekend. Can you score on the road? And so far they said, yes, we can. Gino said, yes, we can. Being on the road, your crowd, it don't shake Pete and Gino. It don't shake, was it Lockett and DK?
JSN.
Yeah, it don't shake
Njigba
and Walker. Can't do it, won't do it.
You said his name fine.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna score more on the road, as a matter of fact. They score more on the road than they do at home. So, a little bit of a Jacksonville effect right there. But also defensively, right? The secondary, nothing to write home about. But they're opportunistic. 3rd in turnover margin. They got a good run defense. This team is going to, they'll be around. I think that they've done enough to get into my top 5. Good for them. Good for the Seattle Seahawks. Who you got 6 through 10, Kasey Kuhrts?
I got the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 6.
Okay.
I got the Buffalo Bills at number 7.
Got to.
I got the Seattle Seahawks at number 8. I got the Dallas Cowboys at 9 because there's not really that many good teams in the league. And I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off a bye at 10. I'm leaving the Bucs in there.
Yeah. Didn't have the Bucs last week. They made a big jump. I got Miami at 6, Tampa Bay at 7, Jacksonville at 8, Buffalo at 9, and Dallas at 10, Kasey Kuhrts.
Jags better beat the Colts, man.
Or they will be out my top 10 again.
They will never make a return on the power rankings. Jim agrees with you on sparkling water. Not sure why.
My dog, Jim.
It's just awful. It is just the worst. Hopefully this show isn't the worst. Maybe it is. Maybe we're like the sparkling water of Jacksonville radio, which is good to some people, but others think it's just the worst.
That's actually a good descriptor. Okay.
And that may be the case. I don't know. But this is Overtime with Kuhrts and Middleton on ESPN 690. BRB.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Not as cool, but still very nice tonight under partly cloudy skies. Temperatures dropping into the upper 50s to lower 60s. Clouds will move in and across the area on Wednesday with a few afternoon showers developing. Highs around 80 degrees. That rain becomes heavy at times tomorrow night. From the First Alert Weather Center for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Don't miss Beards' incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Valor Bare-Knuckle is back in Jacksonville. The legend Ken Shamrock playing host, and the card is highlighted with a heavyweight bout. Valor Bare-Knuckle highlights combat sports in its truest form. It's one night, October 27th, and it's at UNF Arena, an intimate setting surrounding the electrifying bout circle. October 27th at UNF Arena. For ticket information, go to valorbk.com. Don't miss it. Raw, electric, exhilarating. Valor Bare-Knuckle 2 in Jacksonville. October 27th, valorbk.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? 1-to-1 Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Brian Middleton, and if you've been following along, you know about my weekly successes with Awaken 180. And I say weekly because every week the number keeps going down. And after week 6 with Awaken 180, I'm now down 33 pounds. I dropped another 4.4 pounds just last week, and yes, I'm still eating. In fact, it feels like I'm eating more now than I was 33 pounds ago. I'm just eating the right foods for me. I started Awaken 180 because I needed a change, to make a 180 with my health and honestly, just to feel better. And I already do. Like my energy level when I wake up in the morning ready to start my day has skyrocketed since I've started Awaken 180. If you're looking for the same change, do what I did and call the solution for weight loss, fast and safe weight loss, and then receive free support for life. Reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800.
Experience wins when buying or selling your home. Changing markets and rates make for challenging times these days. Bass Professional Realty can guide you through those times and open the door to a new home or lock the door on your old home one final time with a good experience thanks to their experience. Bass Professional Realty has been serving Northeast Florida this entire century. Last year, Nancy Bass and Bass Professional Realty were voted a top real estate firm in Jacksonville. Have a good home selling or buying experience with the experienced team of Bass Professional Realty.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon here with Zero Res. I'm here today with my son Ammon. Ammon is the air duct manager for Zero Res. So Ammon, many people may be wondering, why should I get my air ducts cleaned?
Well, there's two good reasons. First is indoor air quality. As we live in our homes, we generate a great deal of air pollutants such as dander, dust, and chemicals. These contaminants are pulled into the HVAC system and are recirculated 5 to 7 times per day. The second reason is that a clean system is much more energy efficient than a dirty one. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, 25 to 40% of the energy used for cooling a home can be wasted. Contaminants in the HVAC system cause it to work harder and shorten its lifespan.
So, what kind of deals are you running?
This month, mention WOKV, I'll disinfect your air ducts for free. That's normally $100.
Wow. So I can get it disinfected for free?
That's right.
Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
You know how it goes at Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue. Smoked for hours, served in minutes. And now you can bring Willie Jewell's to your party in October. It's a football feast. 6 pounds of pork, 5 whole chickens, baked beans, coleslaw, banana pudding, toast, tea, and even all the paper goods. $295 for your 25-person football feast. Make it easy on you. You just watch the football, have fun. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue takes care of the food. Let Willie Jewell's feed you this football season. WillieJewells.com. Old School Barbecue. Smoked for hours, served in minutes. Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. Baseball conversation in the break. How about that? Brian Middleton still believing in the Atlanta Braves. Shout out to the Phillies for absolutely ruining their season in 2 innings. Oh, yeah. Just get somebody out. I mean, what a mess from the Phillies. We do have baseball action coming up on the station. It will be on the American League side. The Rangers will try to close out the Orioles. You can hear that in just a little bit after you listen to Mike Norvell. Inside Seminole Football will happen before that. Florida State still undefeated and was not really tested on Saturday. They will play Syracuse this weekend at home and try to stay perfect, and then it will be Duke the week after that. OT VIP? Is this new music? Did we use this last week?
Nah, we changed it up every couple of weeks, man. Waiting for your suggestion, man. But we want to make sure that it's luxurious here. You know what I mean? It's not just always bumping, thumping, pause. It's going to be luxurious type music, too. You're in the VIP section. You're in the overtime VIP section. You know what I mean? You got to step up your class a little bit, Kasey Kuhrts.
I wore a hooded T-shirt.
Well, because you're the owner. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's different.
I hear
different
you.
for you and me.
I hear you.
Okay.
Well, you wear a shirt with a collar.
Well,
Oh, what?
What, Brian? We dress differently. I'll leave it there.
Remember that day I wore the basketball jersey? You wore the suit. Remember that day?
Wow, that kicked it off. That was years ago.
Years ago?
I think it was 2 years. That was 2 summers ago.
Really? Maybe.
2021, that feels right. Maybe not. Maybe it was last summer. I think it was last summer. It was a summer ago.
It was a mess either way. Not the best look. All right, I'll stop. All right.
Who you letting in?
I mean, you remember a couple weeks ago when the Bengals were bad and Jamar Chase was like, I'm always open. And then Joe Burrow was like, we're going to find out. And then he threw it to him 19 times and he caught 15 of them for 192 and 3. Jamar Chase basically pulled a DJ Moore and said, if I'm on your fantasy team, I got you. No worries. I'm going to make plays. 200 yards and 3 tutties. I get it. It was against Arizona. It's fine. But I think you're probably going to go back to that moment and say this is when the Cincinnati Bengals got this figured out. Joe Burrow wore the interesting fit, and Jamar Chase went for 203 touchdowns. Arizona's whatever. It's fine. I think this is what kickstarts the Bengals. They start to figure it out. That division is so odd. You got Baltimore losing to Pittsburgh randomly when they had no business losing to them. So I don't know what's going on with them teams. But what I do know is Jamar Chase is always open. Joe Burrow took his advice, and boom, 3 touchdowns and 200-yard day. So, Jamar Chase, I'm surprised you haven't been here yet, but you're here finally.
Yeah.
Congratulations, my friend OTVIP.
Yeah, we like that right there. Yeah. And Jamar, let me shake your hand as well. I had you a little bit later on down the list, man. I'm glad that Kasey saw fit to let you in first, man. I'm going to stick with the wide receivers.
Okay.
Former Carolina Panther. I knew that you were a bad man back in your time in North Carolina, out there in Charlotte. But in Chicago, the past couple of games, especially DJ Moore, won't you come on down?
Yeah.
Listen, man, 8 catches, 230 yards.
Yeah, it's a lot.
3 touchdowns.
It's a lot of yards.
49 points on my fantasy football. The main reason why I walked Gerard Pinto in the fantasy football league for my 3rd straight win. Gerard. Okay, listen. Pinto, I remember when you smoked me in the March Madness tournament. I remember when you smoked me in last year fantasy football, and I'm glad that I can start to return the favor. Can't wait to see you again. What Bart Scott say? Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Can't wait till I see you again.
Wow.
I don't care who you had on by. DJ Moore, what?
Who did he have on by?
Yes, I think Seattle, and there was somebody else. His wide receivers were whack. I was like, bro, I feel sorry for you. Not sorry enough to let you win, though. But DJ Moore, man, speaking of being open, this man was open all the time. This man was open even if he was at Chick-fil-A on a Sunday, Kasey Kuhrts.
Wow.
That boy right here was catching everything, and it started in the first quarter. Shout out to him and Justin Fields, a Chicago Bear I let in last week. That's 2 straight weeks of Chicago Bears.
That's enough of that.
I know, right? But DJ Moore, man, great job. Heck of a job. You smelling yourself. It smells good, pause. But you are welcome to the OTVIP. Spicy chickens on the left, Tesla keys on the right. Kasey Kuhrts.
You ever forget somebody's a person?
There you go. Yeah.
Like, you just be watching football, and you're like, what happened to him? Oh, he's pick-sixing Mac Jones? Tyrann Mathieu. Where you been? I forgot about you. I forgot you were a person.
Honey Badger.
That's my Honey Badger. That's my fault. I had no idea you went to New Orleans. I remember now that you did something, but I forgot. But listen, when you beat another team 34-0, somebody on your defense got to be in the OTVIP. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, all right, they just had a good day. But Tyrann Mathieu, he said, let me take one from Mac Jones and let me take it all the way back. Let's put up 6 points. We'll bring out the kicker. We'll get that 7th one. We'll kick it off, and then we'll pick it off again. Pete Werner on that one. But, I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, good career, good player. Where's he been? Missing in action. I'm hoping that this experience in the OTVIP after a big game against the Patriots will kind of jumpstart the rest of the season for him, except when they play the Jags, of course. But outside of that, maybe get some things rolling, figure out what's going on with the Saints. By the way, I think this might be a moment that you pointed the Saints ago. This is when they figured it out. But listen, pick 6. We let in some pick 6 players last week, like Darius Williams, so we're going to let Tyrann Mathieu in this week to the OTVIP. Welcome back, my friend. Where you been?
Speaking of Darius Williams, hey, you heard your name? Hear it again. Come on down here.
It's a good call.
Red carpet's right here. Darius Williams, listen, that Pro Bowl jersey going to look good on you. That red AFC, that AFC red that they put on the jerseys for the AFC players, going to look good on you. Now, I know they do all the goofy stuff at the Pro Bowl. I'm not quite sure how you play it anymore, but
I think it's flag football.
You're probably going to be there. You keep playing like this, man. Another game, another ho-hum interception. Week before, interception, pick six, as Kasey just said. And, man, I'm just proud of you, man. I shouldn't have waited this long to let the Jacksonville Jaguar in. You know, I get a little excited with my list sometimes. But you are more than welcome here. And I tell you what, you get a third straight. You're going to get a consistent seat here, one where you don't have to wait for your name called.
Like Puka.
Puka, the only one so far. Just like, hey, man, move that rope out my way, man. You know who I am? Don't you know who I is? Darius, you are going down that route. You are one of the main reasons. Actually, I mean, the secondary is so good. Darius Williams, or you want to go Cisco, you want to go Campbell, or you want to go Jenkins, they all have spread it out. But you being near tops in the league of passes defensed, and you are actually catching the ball sometimes when it's coming your way, you are becoming the perfect complementary duo with Tyson Campbell. And I can't knock the fact that you are definitely showing out this season. I'm glad you're on the Jags. I'm glad you're showing up. And you're coming into this OT VIP, as I always tell people, Spicy Chicken's on the left, Tesla Keys on the right, Kasey Kuhrts.
We are getting a copyright strike today.
No, I do a lot of Drake. I do a lot of Drake on the show. Or do we always get copyright strikes with Drake?
Always.
Oh, okay. I would love to see. Actually, I've seen it before. I don't want to see it anymore.
They ain't taking us down.
Yeah.
I don't
just
think.
let you know.
We're going to have some explaining to do if they do. Listen, the New York Jets, remember when we let Zach Wilson in? We're not doing that again. But, I mean, that was a wild time. And the New York Jets, they're like, you know, doing some football a little bit, but they got a real good player that they couldn't really use to his full potential because he come back from injury. And then this week, Robert Saleh said, there's no pitch count on Breece Hall. And Breece Hall said, dope, I'm going to run for 177 and a touchdown. Breece Hall, in limited action this year, has been fantastic. He is unbelievably underrated. I don't know if you know this. The Jets' offensive line sucks. You may remember when they got their starting quarterback hurt 4 plays in when he tore his Achilles because he was trying to evade a sack. Their offensive line is no good. Awful. Just lost another guy for the year. It's a real mess up there in New York. Worse than Jacksonville, which is shocking, but true, on the offensive line. And Breece Hall's like, nah, I'll just run people over. I'll run around them. I'll just make them miss. Like, it's a whole thing. Breece Hall is so good. And now he's at full strength coming off this injury. And I get it. It's Denver. You know, they gave up 70 a few weeks ago to the second best team in the league in the Miami Dolphins. Breece Hall's like, yeah, no big deal. I'm just going to average 8 a carry. 8 a carry. That's crazy. That's crazy. Give him a touchdown. Give him a 10-point win for the Jets. How about it? The Jets are moving, and Breece Hall needs to get the ball on nearly every play. Can't get intercepted if you hand it to Breece Hall. I'm just saying, Zach.
Fair.
Maybe look into that if you're Nathaniel Hackett. So, shout out Breece Hall. Spicy Chicken's left. Tesla Keys right. Just don't work too hard. We don't need you to pop an Achilles again.
Jeez, that's the way to. That's the final warning. Coming into the VIP.
I'm just saying, we don't. Just
pop
be
the
careful.
Achilles again.
Be careful. Like, you know, floor's wet sometimes.
That's fair. How's our business insurance? Because that's a scary proposition, getting sued by an NFL player. Let's see.
You're right.
Let's stick with running backs. Travis Etienne Jr., won't you come on down?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the proof is in the pudding. All of the other cliches you can think about. Travis Etienne. The fear when you first came into the league. Can you run between the tackles? Can you be that kind of back that we give the ball to 15, 20, 25 times in a game where you wear it down? And I tell you what, I don't know if you are or if you aren't, but I know in London last week, this past Sunday, you ain't wear it down a bit. 130-plus yards rushing, nearly 50 yards catching. And one of the biggest reasons the Jags were able to salt away the game and pull away at the end, relying on your ability to cut, run, and get into the end zone. A couple of touchdowns as well. You were the guy out there for sure. And good numbers, good stats, but more importantly, man, it looked like a complete running back. It looked like the kind of stuff that we were thinking about when you were first drafted in. Talked about that on Monday. But more importantly, man, I appreciate the fact that even when it looked like it wasn't going anywhere, carries 10, 11, and 12, you were still going, in the middle, trying to hit the hole and all those good things. And then eventually by the fourth quarter, you were showing people what was up. Travis Etienne Jr., not only do you deserve to be in OT VIP section, you got a seat right next to me, man. The Duval boys, y'all get to sit right next to one of the owners of OT VIP. So come on in. Like Kasey just said for the last guy, Spicy chickens to the left, Tesla keys to the right. Welcome to the OT VIP. Kasey, you got any more?
Yeah, I got one more quick one. So if you missed it this weekend, Jonathan Taylor returned from the IR, and the IR, and then they paid him like a lot of money.
Why? Why did they do
that? To be
the
running back of the Colts.
But why?
Well, I don't know, because now you've got Zach Moss, who saw them sign him. Zach Moss said, you just gave this man how much guaranteed? That's fine. I'm not going to let him on the field because I'm going to run for 165-2 and single-handedly beat the Tennessee Titans. Your quarterback gets hurt. Zach Moss is like, not really, just give it to me. Like, I don't need Jonathan Taylor. I don't need a quarterback. I just need an able-bodied person to turn around and hand me the football, and I'm just going to run through everybody. And now he's like, yeah, I made my point. So you're in the OT VIP. Congratulations. But you have the worst job security in America because they just paid the other guy millions of dollars. So that's tough, to be real with you. That's not going to end well for you, Zach. I'm sorry, but you're talented. And a couple of weeks in, you've had two huge games, none bigger than the one. They did single-handedly win, I think, because they played a little bit of defense and Zach Moss was running the football. So you got to be appreciated for that. Jonathan Taylor's coming back. Hopefully, Actually, I don't really know what I would rather them do this week, to be honest, because Zach Moss was a problem last week. Jonathan Taylor's a problem all the time. Might be tough for the Jags. Hopefully they can stop the run. They did against the Bills. Hopefully they can continue to do that against the Colts. But nonetheless, after that showing, Zach Moss, come on down. OT VIP. Shout out to him. That's the VIP section on a Tuesday. And just like that, the show is over. The VIP section is closed for another week. Power rankings in the books. And coming up next is Inside Seminole Football with Mike Norvell. I told you they're still undefeated. They're good. Maybe in the conversation for the college football playoff. We'll see. Long way to go. They still got some games to win. They probably need to win out. Good news, Miami will run the ball if they have the lead and probably fumble, so you don't have to worry about that game too much. But they will play Syracuse next. And after the break, you will hear from Mike Norvell about what he thought on the win. And then you will hear baseball coverage. So for Brian Middleton, I'm Kasey Kuhrts. Enjoy Inside Seminole Football and the baseball. Have a great night, everybody. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
Hey, poker fans, you're in for a treat this October at Best Bet. With over $690,000 in poker promotions